Harding. Harding. Hug. Melton. Rowe. Mr. President.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for opening remarks by Councilmember Ron Hug. We also have proclamations. Thank you.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Be seated. My opening remarks are just going to be the presentation of a few proclamations. And I apologize, but just for expediency's sake, it's going to kind of be a group event. And I'm not going to read the full thing, but I'm just going to give kind of a brief explanation of what we're doing. I wasn't here during COVID, but with great pride, I watched the leadership that this council performed during a very difficult time for our community. And I watched a number of other businesses who stepped up and helped out their neighbors, their friends, their colleagues, everybody in the community. And it really made me prouder to be from Omaha. So during the shutdown, there was a number of businesses who did exactly what this council did during COVID. Stepped up, did what needed to be done out of kindness, out of generosity, out of a commitment to the community. So I want to thank those businesses who are here today. And unfortunately, I left my glasses at home. But if you want to come up, they're probably not strong enough, council member. So if you want to come up here, please. Noli's Pizza, Big Mama's Kitchen, Lisa's Radio Cafe, Saving Grace. I know I talked to Hy-Vee, but I don't know if they're here. Hy-Vee, El Muchacha El Garega. I'm sorry, I butchered that. Veg Edible. Are we all here? So again, I want to personally thank you, and on behalf of the council, for stepping up and doing what makes Omaha great. And you definitely exhibit that. So thank you very much. And I apologize for the abbreviated version. Last week you knew we were out of power and navigating some difficult. So, Big Mamas, not here. El Muchacho Alegre. Here you go. Thank you very much. Thank you. And now, how do you say it?
El Muchacho Alegre.
El Muchacho.
Yep.
El
Alegre.
Alegre.
The happy boy.
I'll remember. I'll try to remember that next time. Thank you. Hy-Vee's not here, I'm sure. Lisa's Radio Cafe? No? I gotta make a few deliveries. Noli's.
Yes, that's awesome.
You wanna talk to these guys?
Saving Grace.
Saving Grace.
Thank you very much.
And this must be you.
No, I'm with
Yeah.
Noli's.
Oh, them?
This is Noli.
This is
Veg,
Noli.
okay, veg edible? No?
No.
Okay. All right, well, again, thank you for stepping up. Thank you for doing what you do. Again, you are the reason Omaha is a great place to live. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
We now have a proclamation to be read by Councilmember Don Rowe for the libraries.
Thank you, Mr. President. Whereas the Friends of the Omaha Public Library, whose mission has been to raise money for the Omaha Public Library system and promote the library to the greater community, is celebrating its 50th anniversary. And whereas the members of the Friends have raised millions of dollars through their tireless dedication to weekly book sales and other philanthropy, and whereas through the Best Broadkey Scholarship, they have funded educational and professional development opportunities for library staff, and whereas the Friends of OPL host an annual Virginia Frank Memorial Writing Contest for Omaha area middle school students to recognize the creative writing talent of area students, and whereas the Friends of OPL act as passionate advocates for the library, ensuring that the necessary public support and awareness are maintained to secure a thriving future for all library branches. And whereas the Omaha City Council recognizes the Friends of Omaha Public Library for their dedication and service to the community, now therefore we, the City Council of the City of Omaha, wish to offer a sincere thanks to the Friends of the Omaha Public Library. In witness whereof, we have set our hands and caused the official seal of the City of Omaha to be affixed on this 25th day of November, 2025.
Thank you, Councilmember Rowe. We now have some remarks for Councilmember Melton. The floor is yours.
Thank you. We just have some visitors here from Marion High School. We have seniors, Maeve, Caroline, Audrey, and my niece Ella. They're here visiting, learning more about government, and just let everyone know they're going to be eligible to vote within the next year and even run for office. So we welcome the Marion students to our council meeting today.
Go Crusaders. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this meeting of the Omaha City Council. As a courtesy to those in attendance and to facilitate the conduct of our business, we ask that you please silence or turn off all electronic devices. As a reminder, you will have 3 minutes to speak on an agenda item. Please stay on topic. If you would like your comments entered into the public record, you can email the city clerk's office at cityclerk@cityofomaha.org. The council members receive these emails and we read them. Finally, council members may ask members of the audience back up for clarifying questions, but not for extra time to speak. I would also like to remind council members to speak clearly into the microphone so the audience members in attendance and at home can hear. And also people that come up to the microphones in front of us here, please make sure that microphone's in front of you for the same reasons as well. Thank you.
And just real quick, an affidavit of publication is on file, and a current copy of the Open Meeting Act is posted in a white binder on the east wall of legislative chambers.
Skip right over the minute.
Item 6, to consider a Class D liquor license for Big Meats located at 4867 South 137th Street.
I will now open the public hearing on item number 6. I believe we have someone by Zoom. Mr. Patera,
Yes, I am here.
you're the applicant, and if you have any questions, what's your name and address, please?
My name is Ryan Patera, and then my physical address for my home is 19855 L Street. It's Omaha, Nebraska.
Thank you. Are there any proponents here on item number 6? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Public hearing is closed. Got a motion and a second. Roll call.
Festerson. Yes. Goodwin. Hug. Melton. Harding.
Yes.
Rowe. Mr. President.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0. Consent agenda. Any member of the City Council may cause any item placed on the consent agenda to be removed. Items removed from the consent agenda shall be taken up by the City Council immediately following the consent agenda in the order in which they were removed unless otherwise provided by the City Council Rules of Order.
The public hearing on agenda items 7 through 13 were held on November 18th, 2025. Any council discussion? Get a motion? Got a motion and a second. Roll call.
Festerson. Yes. Goodwin. Harding.
Yes.
Hug. Melton. Rowe. Mr. President.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
The public hearings on agenda items 14 through 21 are today. If you wish to address the City Council regarding these items, please come to the microphone, indicate the agenda item number you wish to address, identify yourself by your name, address, who you represent, and if you are a proponent or opponent.
I will now open the public hearing. Are there any proponents? 21 is off consent. Okay. So this is items 14 through 20?
Correct.
Got it. Thanks, Brinker. So anybody who wants to speak on items 14 through 20, are there any proponents? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Public hearing is closed.
Move to approve 14 through 20.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call.
Festerson. Goodwin. Harding.
Yes.
Hug. Melton. Rowe. Mr. President.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
So now item 21.
Item 21, a resolution to submit an application for state assistance towards the stadium project.
I will open the public hearing on item number 21. Proponents.
Marco Floriani, Mayor's Office. Happy to answer any questions about this resolution.
Thank you.
Jennifer Taylor, City Law Department. Again, happy to answer any questions. This is obviously a joint application between the nonprofit partner and the City of Omaha. Happy to fill you guys in with anything else you might need.
Thank you. Are there any other proponents?
Council members, good afternoon. David Levy, Baird Home Law Firm, 1700 Farnham Street, on behalf of Union Omaha, Alliance Omaha Soccer, and Downtown Soccer Stadium, Inc., which are affiliated entities that will be Downtown Soccer Stadium, Inc., will be the joint applicant for the turnback application if this passes with the City of Omaha. Just a few brief remarks. I know that we'll have a public hearing on a bond ordinance in 2 weeks, and so I'll reserve most of my remarks for that. But I want to thank you all first. This is a milestone in a long and really exciting journey for the City of Omaha, in my view. This is one step. Again, what's before you is simply an authorization for the City of Omaha to join with my client in applying for state turnback tax incentive. The turnback revenues would help fund the cost of building the stadium. That's where they would go. That's what they're allowed to do by statute. We have an estimate from a firm called MuniCap that many of you are familiar with. It's a very well-known, very conservative public finance firm. Their analysis shows that at the end of the 20-year turnback period, the stadium would have received its maximum amount under statute of $25 million in turnback revenues, whereas the state of Nebraska during that period would have received more than that, over $25 million. After that 20-year period, the state of Nebraska receives all of the turnback revenue. So this is an important incentive for this, again, I think, great and really momentous project for downtown Omaha and the urban core and Omaha at large. But as these incentives go, I think it's important for the council to know that this is revenue that is not being generated today, would not be generated without this project, and provides immediate and long-term sales tax benefits to the state of Nebraska, as well as helps facilitate this project, which makes all of this go. Just a few statistics as an overview, and again, I'll be happy to answer any questions, but I'll be brief today. The stadium would have about 6,500 fixed seats. Total capacity would be about 8,500 with standing room only and berm seating. The stadium is the anchor. This isn't just a stadium project, and I don't have this on here very well, I'm sorry. The stadium really anchors a mixed-use district. You can see the stadium here in the foreground. This is looking south toward downtown or southwest. The buildings you see there in the distance are mixed-use buildings. Those are apartments, those are retail, office, things like that on the ground floor. So about 500 apartments, about 40,000 square feet of retail. And with the mixed-use development, this is about a $400 million total investment, with about 3/4 of that being private toward the mixed use. Again, really, this is a 15, 20 acre development that brings excitement and energy and people north of Cumming, provides a gateway to the city as you're driving in from the airport. You see the taillights there on the left. Those are cars coming on Abbott Drive. This would be a great gateway and front door to our city at that location as well. So with that, again, thank you for your consideration of this. This is, again, one small step and a
Thank you.
big journey, and happy
Thanks.
to
I
answer
got to
any
stop you at
questions.
3. Thanks, Mr. Levy. Are there any other proponents here today? Seeing none, are there any opponents?
Larry Storr, 5115 Lafayette Avenue, Omaha 68132. This is another one of those projects where we're projecting that things will happen just out of thin air, that we'll pay these things off. For kind of like Wimpy, it says, I'll pay you tomorrow for a cheeseburger today. Well, what if people don't want to go to the stadium? What if they don't want to buy anything at the stadium? Where are you going to get the money to pay it off then? There's a lot of what ifs here. No guarantees that people will show up and spend the money that's going to pay for it. So I suggest that you find a different form of financing. It's another one of those things about, well, it won't happen unless we finance it with TIF or with bonds that wealthy people buy. The general public doesn't realize that if it doesn't work, it comes out of their pocket. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other opponents here on item number 21? Seeing none, public hearing is closed. And we have lights on. Councilmember Festerson, you are recognized.
Thanks, Mr. President. So this is soccer day today with this item, and our next item I think we're taking up, which I think is exciting. As a former soccer player myself, and as someone who cares about this sport and the growth of our downtown area, I think this is exciting news, like Mr. Levy described there. And I thought I did a nice job of explaining this is just the first step. The city must be a co-applicant on a turnback application, which is why it's before us today. But also the city would potentially own this stadium. And further documents we'll have and discussions we'll have coming before the city council. There are other items on this topic even today, coming with a land purchase with a public hearing, I believe, in 2 weeks. And then I think, Mr. Levy, a much more detailed redevelopment agreement would still come before the council that would include a lot more detail for council members and for the public. Is that an accurate assessment? Or Ms. Taylor, too, if you'd
Yes,
like?
sorry,
Yeah.
I'm hiding back there, but yes, absolutely. Thank you.
What's the timing of that document?
I'm going to look at Ms. Taylor and Mr. Floriani here. My hope is that we will be before the council with that document in the first couple months of next year. We want to move very quickly. The goal is to have the stadium open in 2028, and that requires starting construction in 2026, which requires getting the redevelopment agreement and all of those documents in place. We have a lot of work to do.
And would we anticipate having a turnback application decided upon by that time?
We hope so. Yeah. We don't know exactly the state's timeline and with the legislative session coming up, it's even harder to predict. They potentially hold a hearing on these things. There's a committee that approves these at the state level. They meet every month if they have business, but they don't necessarily have to meet every month. So we don't know exactly when the state will take up the application, but if the council approves this today and the ordinance to purchase the land is approved in public hearing in 2 weeks, vote in 3 weeks, then we would file the turnback application immediately thereafter.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
An important part of the mix here, and as you, I think, aptly described, captures only new sales tax from the development itself that otherwise is not there in the first place. So I think it's an important tool for development in downtown and virtually every stadium we've been able to accomplish here in the city. And we would hope the state would look upon this favorably to help make this possible. So I'll be supportive of this today and supportive in coming weeks. I think it's a great to have our second professional sport located downtown and what it will do for the Future Forward area and Millworks Common and what has been a challenging site for our city otherwise that has previously gone undeveloped. So I'm I'm excited to support this. Thanks for your patience in getting to this stage. It's been a long road, I know, for this project, but it's great for Union Omaha, and I think great for sports in Omaha, too. And just to get it on the floor, I'll move approval.
Got a motion and a second. Thank you. Councilmember Melton, you're recognized.
Thank you very much. And first, I want to say I appreciate the fact that you used Municap to do this analysis. The city used Municap a number of years ago, and Municap actually does very conservative, it uses very conservative numbers to make sure that whatever the city is doing, especially for purposes of bonds, that they're going to be able, the project is going to be able to perform to pay off those bonds. And I think we've already seen that with the Municap study that we have. What they said is actually, we're seeing it come to fruition now. And so I think that that's using an expert. So it's not just us sitting here or Mr. Levy saying this is what it's going to do. We actually got experts to be able to tell us. And one thing that wasn't mentioned, and since we have some girls from Marion here today, is one of the teams is going to be the first. It'll be a professional women's soccer team that's going to be housed at this soccer stadium. So it'll be not only men playing at this stadium, but we will actually have our own women's professional team at this Union Soccer Stadium. So that's something I'm very excited about. I too played soccer. Maybe not very well. And I played at Tranquility, which is coming up next. And I've attended some of the Union soccer games out at Warner Park. And albeit, Sarpy County is wonderful and growing out that way, but I would love to see this in downtown Omaha. And I think being right next to the CHI Stadium, right next to the baseball field, I think it's an addition to our downtown that, again, will almost give it another transformation. I agree. I don't want to use taxpayer dollars to fund a lot of these things, but that's why this is a turnback tax. So the money wouldn't exist. In fact, Ms. Taylor, the land that we're using, it's completely undeveloped. There's nothing there. Is that correct?
Jennifer Taylor, City Law Department. That is correct. At present, it is owned by Union Pacific. Their use of that property is generally to support some event space that they do during the College World Series when they have their train come up. Otherwise, it is pretty much a significantly underutilized parcel of property.
And so right now, the only revenue coming from that property is a very minimal property tax because it's railroad land owned by the railroad, Pacific. So it's not as much as a normal property tax assessment.
That is correct.
Okay, so really, we're getting no revenue from this land whatsoever.
Correct.
And I want to clarify for the turnback tax, 100% of the tax doesn't go back to the project. This calls for 70% of the sales taxes will go back to the property. So this is only in regards to sales tax, and 30% will then go to the state. And
correct.
Well, and the city. The other 30% will go to the sales taxing government entities, correct?
Of the state sales tax, yes. 30% will be retained by the state, 70% will be turned back to the city to use towards debt service for the development. The city will obviously independently retain its 1.5% local option.
And I think we talked earlier, and I know that the agreement, you haven't completed the agreement, but somebody said something, what if it just fails? Then the taxpayers will be on the hook for this. What steps are you taking that we've done before with other projects to maybe make sure that that's not going to happen?
Through the process of negotiating the redevelopment agreement, obviously, the city is not going to take step one towards starting this project unless we have certain assurances that the project's going to go forward and that our partners have sufficient funds dedicated to the project in order to make it happen. While it's not all just city financed. And then at that point in time, we will have certain agreements in place that have obligations, both financial and I would say remedial or penalty-like, on our partner to ensure that the project goes forward. But there'll be milestones that we have to hit before we make any sort of significant investment.
Okay, and I appreciate that, and I think we had, at least I think Mr. Levy said there's going to be about $400 million in investment. This is an application for just $25 million in turnback tax, but it's capped per year. So it's capped at I believe 1.2 million per year. Is that correct?
Correct.
So if sales tax exceeds 1.2 million per year, then actually the state will see more than 30% because they'll get all of the excess over the 1.2 million.
That is all correct. And then I would also point out, as we discussed earlier this morning, too, the impact it has on the neighboring developments. Right now, you have this large underutilized vacant piece of land, which is essentially, it pulls down some of the neighboring developments. As this gets redeveloped, it's only a boon to those other areas that are already underdeveloped in North Downtown and downtown.
And I think what I'm always looking for when we have this, everybody says just quit spending. But sometimes it takes money to make money. And what I'm always looking at for any project is what's the rate of return on our investment. And here, we're really literally not investing any money or taking any money away from any other project, from fixing potholes or caring for parks. This is just about turn back sales tax, correct?
Correct.
And we wouldn't otherwise have the money.
That we would not otherwise have. And if there's $25 million of turnback tax utilized by the city to finance this development, there's also $25 million that will go to the state, so that's 100% return, if I did sort of.
So how I look at this is it's not a fiscal note, it's actually revenue positive.
It is revenue positive.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Councilmember Goodwin, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm excited to see this project develop in District 2 and how it is extending opportunities into the district. I did have a question for Mr. Levy, please.
I was just moving over there so I could see you, but I must have known a question was coming. Yes, Councilwoman.
As we talked yesterday, and we appreciate that opportunity to get an overview, we pulled this off the agenda for a reason, obviously to elevate a lot of the details that have already been discussed here. You talked a little bit about how soccer's growing nationally, and then also how this is a different opportunity than maybe some of the even surrounding fields like Creighton and such. Can you go into that a little bit more, please?
Sure, thank you. And I appreciate Councilwoman Melton bringing up also the women's team. So this is a stadium for men's professional soccer and women's professional soccer. In addition to that, though, with this being a professional stadium, and I know Tranquility is coming up next, and I went to a lot of soccer games there. I didn't play there, but you know, and I also, though, having kids who played travel soccer, I spent a lot of sales tax in Kansas City and Denver and Minneapolis and lots of other places. And with a facility like this, I believe, and the other facilities that are going on, you really elevate Omaha to a place where people are going to bring their kids and their families from all over the country to play in tournaments here. And to your question, what this stadium does is it creates a draw for those tournaments and for kids and teams who are looking at, well, do we go to Omaha or do we go to Denver? If they think, hey, my kid gets to play, if they make the championship, they get to play in a professional soccer stadium for that championship game. That's a different level that puts those tournaments on a different level. That puts the demand for things like Tranquility and Levi Carter Park and the other facilities that are going on in town at a different level. It really puts Omaha on a different map with regard to soccer, and I think even youth sports. This field could be used for lacrosse, for example, than we're on now. So it's not, to me, overlapping, but it's really additive to those other facilities and those other projects that are coming, and you all hear about it all the time. Those projects are very popular, and there's a great demand for youth sports fields and youth soccer. I believe soccer is the fastest growing youth sport in the country by some measure, and you know, this will help Omaha be a part of that growth and help the urban core be a part of that growth and benefit from that growth.
Thank you for that. And you mentioned that there's a different scale here. If you look at, for instance, Creighton's ability to host and the scale that would even require turnback tax. Can you give us a little detail on that, please?
Yeah, thank you for that. I should have looked at, I forgot to go back and look honestly and see what Creighton's seating capacity is, but I'm going to venture a guess that it's a third to a quarter of what we're talking about here. And it's a beautiful stadium. I actually look at it every day out my office window. And it's a beautiful stadium. And Union Omaha is going to play there in 2026. It is a smaller facility than what we're talking about here. When Union Omaha played at Werner Park in the championship a couple of years ago, they had over 5,000 people in attendance. So you can only imagine a stadium designed for soccer downtown, what will happen there. Creighton also, there's really serious scheduling challenges. They've got a lot of events and a lot of use of that stadium and that field for their men's team and their women's team, practices, all of those kinds of things. So again, to me, these two facilities really complement each other, and the fact that they're both downtown and in the urban core is just all the better.
Absolutely. And so when we start talking about what this will cost, isn't it correct that once it's built, that it's looking to not only generate taxes, but also rent or lease funds for the city? Is that correct?
Yes. So the current thinking is that the city will own the stadium. Union Omaha or Downtown Soccer Stadium, Inc. will pay the city an annual rent payment that will go a long way over, let's say it's a 30-year lease, that would go a long way toward paying off the bonds that the city might issue to finance the stadium. Part of that is the turnback revenues. Part of it is the lease revenues. We'll be before you with an application for tax increment financing as well, which then some or all of that would be turned back, if you will, to the city, again, to support the repayment of those bonds. So it is really the project that is generating the funds over time that pay for the stadium. The city is in really a true, tremendous public-private partnership, using its powers to finance that. You got to have the money up front to build the project, but it's the project that then pays off those bonds.
Great. So really what we're talking about is a multifaceted project that can benefit youth all the way up to professional sports, spurring tourism, also with a holistic approach to housing, mixed-use retail, and activities, all the things you want to see really in our community to potentially retain, young professionals, attract young professionals, even small businesses to a currently underdeveloped part of town.
Couldn't said it better myself. And I would just add mixed income housing as well. So another one of the city's goals and challenges, bringing 500 housing units and potentially more with adjacent projects to the urban core and to north of Cumming and really, that pulling downtown north is all a benefit of not just the soccer stadium, right? It's the anchor, but the whole district that the soccer stadium catalyzes.
Right, and we talked about how we'd look at how Levi Carter Park, as you'd mentioned before, can, not necessarily be connected, but really I think people want to understand that development is moving north, but there's opportunities to really, redevelop even further north that includes North Omaha or Northeast Omaha.
Yeah, absolutely. And my clients have formed another nonprofit entity, and I apologize, I'm forgetting the name of it right now, but the sole purpose of that nonprofit entity is youth programs and community programs and other things like that. So they are very committed to the community and to youth in the community and exactly what you talked about. And they see this facility as an opportunity to really make good on that commitment writ large.
Yeah. Well, I love this for Omaha. I love this for District 2. And as we move forward, you'll have my support on this project. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Councilmember Harding, you're recognized.
David, please. I'll give a little historical perspective first to pick up a little bit on what Councilmember Melton was talking about. About 30 years ago, the city was in discussions with Pinnacle Foods about relocating their facility off of 12th and Capitol and looked at the Union Pacific ground, which we're talking about here, to relocate their facility there so that was a potential site for the what's now the CHI Center. Turned out that for a number of reasons it didn't happen, and the CHI Center ended up somewhere else. But for the last 30 years, that ground has basically sat idle. Mm-hmm. And except for during the College World Series, when the Union Pacific Railroad brings in their train to host events, it gets little, if any, use otherwise. So to see something like this be an opportunity for that site, I think is really tremendous for the city. But that's approximately 23 acres or so, I believe, 25
Yeah,
maybe.
25 acres.
And I know we're probably getting a little bit of cart in front of horse here, but the stadium itself will only take up about what, 11 acres?
11 to 12 acres.
Okay, and then I hope I'm at liberty to say that, maybe there's an easement for Union Pacific to continue to bring their train in.
Absolutely.
But that still leaves 8 or 9 acres of developable ground for, I think, some of the other things that you were talking to Councilmember Goodwin about.
I think that's right. You got to think about streets and things like that. But when you take that out, I think you're right. After the stadium and the UP easement, streets, all those kinds of things, you're still looking at probably 8 to 9 acres.
Okay, so I'd set that all up for, I guess, some of the next questions then. So the turnback tax that you have anticipated for, well, first of all, when would the state see any monies coming back, revenues coming back to them from their portion of the turnback?
So the state would see revenues in year one of the turnback, which is effectively, if the stadium opens in 2028, the state would be receiving 2028 generated sales tax revenue. The muni cap estimate for that first year is that the state would receive about $200,000 in sales tax. In that first year also, though, as things are getting going, it's ramping up. The state starts to, so just $200,000, $400,000 the next year, up to $2 million back to the state in sales tax in that year 20 of the turnback. And then the turnback goes away and the state receives all of the turnback revenue from then on. And I do want to make the point, Councilwoman Melton, you brought this up a little bit too. This turnback, the radius for turnback under state law is 600 yards. Mm-hmm. This is all new turnback. This isn't sales tax from the CHI Center, for example. They have their own turnback that gets carved out of this. So these muni cap numbers are project generated sales tax only.
Okay, and then that's kind of where my next question was kind of going then. The turnback estimates are not based just upon what's generated from the stadium. It's also Municap's study, I'm assuming, also took into account the other development, those 8-ish acres that I talked about, of the potential other development that comes in there that goes along with revenues generated from the stadium.
Correct.
Is that correct?
So this would be sales tax revenue generated at the stadium and in the mixed-use district that I've also talked about that is part of this project ultimately, yes.
And as I think Ms. Taylor said earlier, and you have said as well too, we have a long way to get to the final agreement. So really the purpose of what we're doing here today is so that it can move on to the state for consideration of the turnback.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll be in support of this as well. I appreciate, David, you taking the time yesterday to brief Councilmember Goodwin and I walking through this. And as I think of downtown, we mentioned the Creighton Soccer Stadium, you referenced that. And my colleagues did a good job of touching on a lot of things that we're thinking about. When you think of downtown, you got the CHI Center, Schwab, Steelhouse, Capitol District, Millworks. I'm missing a bunch of things, but Creighton expansion, you think of our urban core of our city and all the things happen, and this is just another anchor for downtown Omaha and north of downtown to really have that transition and transformation to continue. So I'll be happy to support this as well. See no further lights. We had a motion and a second. Roll call.
Festerson.
Yes.
Goodwin. Harding.
Yes.
Hug. Melton. Rowe. Mr. President.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
86 now.
Go to 86. Okay. Without objection, we'll move 86 up to next in the docket here.
Item 86, a resolution to approve an application for state assistance for the Tranquility Park Sports Complex.
I will open the public hearing now on item number 86. Are there any proponents?
Jennifer Taylor, City Law Department. I'm here to answer any questions you might have about this application as well, which is a city application in conjunction with the Omaha Public Facilities Corporation, because this is an entirely city-owned asset.
Thank you. Are there any other proponents? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Public hearing is closed. Councilmember Melton, you're recognized.
I'm a little disappointed that we don't have anyone other than Ms. Taylor here from the city with showing what Tranquility is going to look like, because I think it's fabulous. And again, we're looking for turnback tax. It would be like the soccer stadium. It's revenues that we don't have now. And so I think that's important to note, that there won't be probably any development unless we're able to expand Tranquility. Is there anybody from the city that has any photos of what Tranquility is going to look like? Okay, Ms. Taylor, I'll let you come answer some questions. There is a great slideshow presentation that I think would be really important to have available, and maybe somebody can have it available when we look at the bonds that we're going to have on the agenda. Attached to our agenda, if anyone's interested in seeing what Tranquility is going to look like, you can go to the Omaha City Council, the city clerk's website, and you can pull up our agenda for today, and you can go to, I think it's 86, and attached to that, there's some very nice slides of what it's going to look like. We have it looks like 12 fields, but as part of this project, we're hoping to expand it to 16. We're going to do all of the basically grading for the 16, so that all we have left maybe to do is do
install the turf.
Just install the turf.
Yep.
So we're really
Turf and
hoping
lighting,
that we can get to those 16 fields.
Yes, I think we're very optimistic that we can get to those 16 fields.
And right now, I know, and I don't think that Patrick Mulhall would mind if I talked about the amount of investment he's already put into planning for development around Tranquility. But we're looking at least one, potentially two hotels. We're looking for a major anchor for couple restaurants, fast food. And so all of that sales tax, 70% of it will go as a turnback to Tranquility. But again, from $1, the state is going to be receiving 30 cents of every sales tax dollar. Is that correct? It's not 100%. The state will be receiving money from day one that they wouldn't have received before.
That is correct. And Mr. Mulhall and the Mulhall development is contingent upon the city undertaking this redevelopment, because the intent is we make ourselves more marketable to, and our Convention and Visitor Bureau can share that as well, make ourselves more marketable with these larger tournaments. As these larger tournaments come in, we need places for them to stay, places for them to eat, retail facilities to sell equipment and things like that. All of that doesn't exist today, the Mulhalls are planning to develop in support of the expansion of Tranquility Park.
And Tranquility has been there, obviously, since I was a kid who played there. And I think the Mulhalls have owned the land that long as well. And so they haven't developed it. So I think we're fairly certain when they say it's not going to get developed unless Tranquility develops, we know that to be true. And I guess this is something that I think is really important for youth sports. Again, we've been trying to find the funding for Tranquility at least since I started council 13 years ago. I know I've been working on this, kind of been my dream project, so to speak. And I think that we finally have gotten to a point where the project will pay for itself, but we definitely need the turnback tax in order to make that happen. The other revenues will be the users will pay for that. So this project, again, is paying for itself. We're not using taxpayer dollars. We're not using the general fund. We're not using money, again, that would pay for road repair or park maintenance or anything else that the general fund would pay for. Is that right?
A large part of this project is being paid for with brand new revenues, the sales tax turnback, some occupation tax, and other such revenues. Obviously, revenue generated by larger tournaments helps as well, and there is some budgeted funds that are dedicated towards the park today. But other than that, yes, this is largely funded by new revenue.
And none of the development around Tranquility, it even qualifies for tax increment financing. So we'll never see a project come up for tax increment financing for any of that development.
Correct.
And in addition to the sales tax, we're only talking about turnback tax for the 600 yards, which there's really virtually no development, and it's pretty limited. But I think that these large, I mean, you have 12 to 16 fields, people coming in, they're going to be spending money outside of the turnback tax.
They'll be up at
development.
Target. They'll be up at 136. I mean, yes, there's a lot of area outside the 600 yards that will benefit from the expansion of Tranquility Park.
And I know we probably don't have those figures, but the state will see 100% of all of that money between the hotel tax, additional sales tax, and I think even development outside the 600 feet because of Tranquility, we'll see the property tax from that as well, because there won't be any TIF. So I think that there's actually a lot of money that will be generated. Again, this will be revenue positive, no fiscal note, and the state will see an increase in revenues from day one. Is that
exactly
accurate?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
I'm asking for everybody's support on this. It's a long time coming, and the location of this actually benefits kids from all over our community. And I also think it's a great partnership with Levi Carter because we can do a lot of bigger tournaments. And it's actually pretty easy because this is kind of right off 680.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually easy to get to from really anywhere in the city.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that this is kind of a great development to go along with Levi Carter. And then hopefully with a Union soccer stadium, we kind of have this focus on soccer that's always been there in Omaha. We've always been a big soccer city, at least for the youth. And so I think it's going to be great because in addition to this, we're going to have trails. There's some mountain bikers. I went to that last year, which was really neat. And we're going to make some improvements there. So we're not going to be taking away from the trails that are being used by other people other than soccer users. And some of these fields, I think we mentioned, could be used for lacrosse as well.
These are multi-purpose fields. So they actually can be used for a variety of different sports, rugby, field hockey, lacrosse, soccer. So these are multi-purpose turf fields lit at night, don't have to rest, longer usage periods because of lighting. The opportunities that the city has to bring in all kinds of different activities to this park with this expansion is unlimited.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate all your work on this.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Councilmember Festerson, you're recognized.
Thanks, Mr. President. This is the second big soccer item on the agenda today that I referenced in my original remarks. And if that downtown stadium is about young professionals, I think this one is about young families. And I support it too. I think it is a game changer for youth athletics in our community. Depending upon if it's 12 fields or 16 fields, we estimate a $30 to $36 million positive economic impact on the city. And it is all new revenue under this turnback application. This turnback application is very important to this overall picture as we talk about Tranquility and how that's financed. And there are several of those sources that are still being finalized. Unlike the soccer stadium, though, we hope to have that turnback application decision by the time we're at redevelopment agreement stage. This project's quite a bit further along in the respect that it's already turning dirt, and we have approved a construction contract. And also later on our agenda today, we have a hearing about $65 million worth of bonds to help finance it in these initial stages as well. So that leads me to this final question of risk from your perspective. There's been some concerning reports of how turnback applications are being considered right now in Lincoln, and I think there are several in the queue that have not been approved and may not be approved for several more months. We're hopeful these two projects are not in that mix, and I think they are different, and they are producing new income to both the city and the state. But for whatever reason, should that not be approved or should that be delayed, I'd like your comments on potential risk given the construction contract we have and the potential for bond approvals here in a couple of weeks.
Jennifer Taylor, City Law Department. I am not specifically intimate with all the details of the Kiewit contract, but most of our contracts are if we are done in stages. So that if we get to a point where we're not granted turn back tax, or this application's not approved, obviously we'd have to stop the project and we'd have to reevaluate how, or if at all possible, we could move forward with it. So the contracts are set up in a way that we can do that without significant risk to the city. But obviously it's important that this application gets submitted. It's important that it is reviewed by the state expediently and hopefully favorably. And so then we can continue to move on. Otherwise, if we are in fact denied, we'll have to put the brakes on the project and reevaluate whether or not we can move forward.
And as it applies to that construction contract and also the potential bond approval, what would that look like?
Well, again, as we do with most of our bond ordinances, your ordinance is authorizing, not issuing. So if we don't, if we are not approved for sales tax turnback, then obviously we would not move forward with issuing the bonds. And we'd be back to a place where we'd have to reevaluate our financing of the project and exactly how we move forward.
Okay, thank you. And suffice it to say from that answer that this is very critical components of this project. This isn't happening but for this occurring. So we hope our state partners are listening and are participating and helping our city with these economic development projects.
We have worked hard to find just about every source of revenue that we can to support this project and this expansion. We've kind of reduced the scope, as you're all well aware, because of budgetary issues. This financing tool is, much like with Union Omaha, critical to this project moving forward.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Councilmember Goodwin, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I wanted to just commend Mayor Ewing on his leadership and his emphasis on, caring about parks and tourism across our city. I think that's one of the denominators, the common denominators here, and how both of these projects, not just the Union Stadium, but also Tranquility Parks, are moving forward. I had a question that came up actually in our conversation yesterday about the different types of turnback tax. Mm-hmm. We talked today, one, about a specific sports complex type turnback tax. I think we've also referred to, and it may not be a turnback tax, but that's where you come in, Jen, to sort out the details, not just for me, but probably some other inquiring minds. The hotel tax, but could potentially also be a turnback tax, maybe not. So I'll stop there before I get into the weeds. On the one hand, with the union, we were talking about a specific product at the state that is a turnback tax, correct?
Correct.
We're talking about the same turnback tax here, and then is it the same as the North and South Omaha turnback tax?
The North and South Omaha turnback tax are very different.
Okay.
State incentive program, and actually Mr. Cousy is probably more versed in it than I am, or actually Mr. Curtis. But that is a separate state sales tax that's turned back to the city under a state statute that is then given to us that we then disperse to North and South Omaha. Entirely different program.
Entirely different, okay.
Yep.
That's good.
So this particular application and the application with Union Soccer are both being submitted to the state under the Sports Arena Facility Financing, there's another A, Act.
Good job.
So that particular state incentive program is the basis for these two applications. We do also receive turnback tax financing for the Arena Convention Center that was applied for back in 2001, 2002. That is under the Convention Center
Yep.
Facility Financing Act. So there you go. Oh, there's the other F. But that's a different program as well.
Yep. Gotcha. And then the hotel tax is entirely separate?
So the hotel tax is actually a city-based occupation tax that we are pursuing our opportunities to possibly utilize that to assist in certain specific projects, but that is a city program.
Yeah, but it would still apply to this Tranquility project, potentially.
It could potentially apply to this program. This is one way we're looking to help fund the expansion at Tranquility Park by utilizing basically every financing source we can find.
Absolutely. And I just think that sometimes for the, average listener, right, we're throwing out all these terms and most of, people are saying, okay, wait a minute, turn back here or turn back there. Is this Tranquility project going to touch, dollars for North and South Omaha, and that's not the case. There are very different programs for different types of use under the various statutes that are provided either by the state or local government.
Correct, and it is hard to keep track of all of them. Although we do not have a ton of incentive programs at our disposal, we are trying to use the ones that we have to the best of our ability.
Yeah, thank you for that
welcome.
clarification.
Of course.
Thank you. Councilmember Rowe, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I saw Jacqueline sneak in. Did you want to be called up, or you have something to contribute? I don't want you to just be left hanging out there.
Hi, Jacqueline Morrison from the mayor's office. One of my coworkers said that Councilwoman Melton had asked about pictures, and I said, yeah, of course we have pictures. So I was running down with pictures in the event that anyone needed visual images of the park.
Well, while you're here.
And now I've got to figure out how to, if I can.
While you're doing that, I wanted to make another comment on sales tax. So, you know, the taxes, the sales tax that we're talking about in this turnback is based on operations, right? It's the facilities operating or the development operating. None of us have really talked about the sales tax generated by the construction of the development. And that's where, I mean, that multiplies significantly the amount of sales tax that's generated and how much we collect. And I don't think that's subject to, I mean, that's just the turnback. That just comes into our operating expenses here at the city. So every time you see a hotel being built or a sidewalk being framed with a 2x4, you know, those materials are being taxed and generating sales tax as well, and will be a benefit to the city.
Okay. I did not bring a flash drive, but I'm going to try my best to show my screen.
Thanks, Councilman Rowe. Councilmember Melton, you're recognized.
Tag team that I'm the one that asked for the pictures, so I thought if you can pull them up. I think it, you know, it's just great to see what the fields are going to look like. We're going to have a new concession stand, I think new playground for kids, and also additional, well, we're going to do maintenance on the current parking, and then add additional parking. Is that right?
That's correct. That is all correct. So, just trying to zoom out just a little bit. But if you can see here, this shows the layout of the first 12 fields that would go in. There is additional parking on the east side of the park, as well as on the north side of the park. And then I'll scroll down. You can see some of the seating furnishings that will be used. It's very similar to what you see at the Riverfront Park, just an upgraded park experience. A lot of the feedback that we received is people wanted, right now Tranquility really looks like athletic fields, and they wanted to restore that park-like experience. And so the design team has looked at what are the opportunities to do that.
Well, and also in addition to this, which is separate from the cost of this project, but as part of our CIP, we will be expanding Fort Street along that, and part of that is the bridge.
Yes.
That's on the north side. And I think that's really important, especially for the people that live around Tranquility. One of the things we did was we widened 120th Street. We had to go after funds for that. And that is something we had to do first before we could even start this project, and that was completed. So now the next step will be Fort Street.
Absolutely. We have the improvements that happened at 120th and Maple. The next improvements that you'll see will be 120th and Fort. Part of it, the big expense to get started is that bridge, and so that bridge will happen alongside this project. One of the things that we looked at with the park too was the circulation, and so you really want 3 entrances and 3 exits to the park, and so there will be roadways added within the park to make sure people can get in and get out, and that they aren't backing up traffic on any of those main streets, which people from the neighborhoods will use. And so a lot of thought was given to those traffic studies to make sure that we had good circulation through the park. So I'll just this image right here shows kind of what some of those fan corridors will look like. And so there will be one of the things that we're excited about that was just announced with Nebraska State Soccer. There is a Nebraska State Soccer Hall of Fame that doesn't have a home. And so we are working with Nebraska State Soccer to give the Nebraska Soccer Hall of Fame a home where they can honor people who have both played soccer in the state but also have some ties to to Tranquility Park. So this is a rendering of what the inside of one of the buildings will look like to create like a museum-like experience to honor some of the history of the park, but also participants in soccer throughout the state. I'll just keep going. So you'll see here, this is ways to incorporate that park-like setting. So you'll see a lot more trees, a lot more native grasses, a lot more areas for families to spend time. This is, sorry, hopefully that's not too blurry for everyone, but that's a rendering of where that Hall of Fame area will be. Those particular signage, that signage would be highlighting different individuals and different events in the park. So this is just another image of spaces where teams will be able to go and take pictures as they are celebrating. But also, again, when you're sharing this on social media, getting Omaha out there, indicating we're here, come, we want to welcome you to our state to play. This is a fan corridor right outside of the concession stand overlooking what would be the championship field. So one of the things that we need to be able to be competitive is a championship field that can house more or allow for more people to watch the games. And so we would be redoing a championship field. And so that's an image of what we'd be looking at here. And I'll just scroll down. This is just an example of adding some elevations in the park so that when you have other children who are there who are not playing organized sports, they will have places to go and spend time in the shade and enjoy the park-like setting. I'm going a little faster. But just an example, again, of some of those flexible seating areas. I was hoping to get to, I think I might be at the end of the slide deck, but there is also the trail component. So right now there are natural surface trails within the park. We've partnered with Thor to do a conceptual design. Currently, Tranquility is our only, I believe the acronym is NICA, trail that we have to allow for competitions for mountain bike in the city. And so we will be updating those trails to be able to accommodate NICA and mountain biking competitions. And then we'll also be adding some more paved trails so that people will be able to walk around if they're not engaging in the sports activities. So that's just some updates on the park.
Thank you. Thank you for coming down and showing us those renditions, because I thought they were really neat, and I wanted people to be able to see really what Tranquility can be transformed into, what we're looking at doing.
Yeah.
And so, again, this is revenue positive for the state. The state wouldn't have that revenue without it. And we're also going to get, you know, an absolutely beautiful park for the citizens of Omaha, but then one that we can make money off of too. So it's kind of a win-win.
If you don't mind, if I have a second, I can show you another document that I thought was also interesting. We had some analysis done of where people come from when they visit Tranquility Park. And so each one of these represents a household that was going to the park. And so you can really see that this park is frequented by everyone throughout the city of Omaha. So this is City of Omaha's park and the place where we go to play. So just thought that was a good slide from the conversation, one of the previous conversations we had. And the last piece I'll share, if I can get there pretty quickly. So some of that questions came, so a question came up about what is spent right in that 600 yards versus what will be spent outside of the park. And so historically,
yes, I'd asked that. Yeah.
This shows where people who leave Tranquility, where they go. And so you'll see Eagle Run Shopping Center is a popular destination that would be outside of that 600 yards. the shops at Village Point. And so that's indicative of people who are here going shopping. Same with Shadow Lake at Town Center, going to Papillion. And so those are all places that will still be able to bring in revenue for the state and also for the city that are not included in that turn back. So when we say this is not just going to turn back tax within that area, this is true data that we receive to show where the top people are going when they leave the park.
I'd probably question the Shadow Lake, but all the rest of them I think are right by Tranquility. Shadow Lake's a little farther than 2 miles, but all of the rest of them, yes, and that'll be 100% of that additional tax revenue will benefit the state of Nebraska.
Absolutely.
And not just the city of Omaha, but I mean the entire state of Nebraska.
Yes.
Jacqueline, I want to thank you for your time and your effort in getting this application pulled through so that we can make it kind of before our deadline, before the new legislative session starts.
Yes.
And I appreciate you getting some of that additional information in regards to revenue. I think that's going to be the important story to tell.
Okay.
Is that additional revenue outside the 600 yards?
Yes.
Because that's 100%.
Yes.
And I think that's that's what gets us over that hurdle for the turnback tax approval. At least that's what I'm hoping.
Okay.
So I appreciate your efforts.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Harding, you're recognized.
Thank you. Jacqueline, I'll say don't go too far because I think some of these questions might turn up more in 41 when we're there. But I will say, I said this when we were approving the GMP, my preference was that this would have been 16 fields rather than 12. I think that makes a big difference. I think we've had some people testify that it's a difference of having one hotel versus 2 hotels. I'm still hopeful we can find a way to get to 16, but we'll probably have more of that discussion in 41. There have been recently a number of applications for turn back. And again, this is really the only thing, as I understand it, that we're doing in this action is that this is so that we can have this application be on the December meeting, if there is a December meeting of the Turnback Committee in Lincoln. But there have been a number of recent applications that focus on youth and in particular youth sports, be it soccer, be it volleyball, baseball, cheer, lacrosse, you name it. But they're all, I think what's interesting about these applications is that they're all about youth and in particular youth sports. And I think that's great for a community because I think that's something that we can really be building on that's really important, one of those important components about making sure that we keep families around here, we keep and encourage families to move here. Remember, Forbes voted us the #1 city to move to in America in 24. But we can't rest on those laurels. We got to keep doing those things to encourage youth and youth activities because there are other benefits to youth sports rather than just the physical exercise. I mean, it teaches our kids responsibility, dedication, accountability, sportsmanship, and those are all good values that I think we want to instill in our youth. And I think I'm a big believer in that youth sports can be a great pathway for that. So I would actually encourage those who sit in those decision-making seats to approve all the turnback projects that are in front of them, if they can make the case for them being revenue positive. But I think these are important components to make sure that this is how we want to grow our city, and this is the kind of activities we want our youth to be involved with. So I know we'll have some more discussions in 41, I think, on the bonding issue of it, but at least for the application part, I'll be supportive. I'll be supportive for the turnback.
Got a motion and a second. No further lights. Roll call.
Festerson.
Yes.
Goodwin. Harding.
Yes.
Hug. Melton. Rowe. Mr. President.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0. Item 22, an ordinance to approve a contract with Dale's Trash Service for 2026 litter can collection services.
I will open the public hearing on item number 22. Are there any proponents here today? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Public hearing is closed.
Item 23, an ordinance to approve a storm sewer maintenance agreement with Invest Omaha SC LLC for the CIP Saddle Creek Apartments located at 1012 South Saddle Creek.
Public hearing is now open on item number 23. Are there any proponents? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Public hearing is closed.
Item 24, an ordinance to approve the Charles Street Townhomes Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Agreement.
Public hearing is now open on item number 24. Are there any proponents? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Public hearing is closed.
Item 25, an ordinance to approve a parking lease agreement with River North Transit LLC for the lease of 8 parking spaces at Hitchcock Park.
Public hearing is now open on item number 25. Are there any proponents? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Public hearing is closed.
Item 26, an ordinance to approve the Second Amendment to the cell site license agreement with Verizon Wireless for communications equipment located at Tranquility Park.
Public hearing is now open on item number 26. Are there any proponents? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Public hearing is closed.
Item 27, an ordinance to approve the cumulative final work authorization number 9, establishment of binding guaranteed maximum price for Hosman Construction for the construction of Levi Carter Park Activity and Sports Complex.
The public hearing is now open on item number 27. Are there any proponents? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Public hearing is closed.
Item 28, an ordinance levying a special tax assessment on properties for Litter Group 2026-01.
Public hearing is now open on item number 28. Are there any proponents? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Public hearing is closed.
Item 29, an ordinance levying a special tax assessment on properties for Weeds Group 2026-02.
The public hearing is now open on item number 29. Are there any proponents? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Public hearing is closed.
Item 30, an ordinance levying a special tax assessment on properties for Trees Group 2026-03.
The public hearing is now open on item number 30. Are there any proponents? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Public hearing is closed.
Item 31, an ordinance to accept the bid of Great Plains Uniforms LLC for uniforms for the Omaha Police Department.
Public hearing is now open on item number 31. Are there any proponents? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Public hearing is closed.
Item 32, an ordinance to amend Section 23-177 of the Omaha Municipal Code by adding the employment classification for crisis support specialists. Personnel Board recommends approval.
I will open the public hearing on item number 32. Are there any proponents?
Good afternoon, Chelsea Shipp, Human Resources Department, here to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Claire Anderson Hubbard, HR, also here for questions.
Deb Sander from HR, here to answer any questions on this item and the next item as they're both classifications.
Thank you. Are there any other proponents? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Public hearing is closed. Councilmember Fesserson, you're recognized.
Quick question for you. We talked about this position, crisis support specialist, in our public safety committee meeting this morning. The intention would be to add this position to the fire department, correct?
Fire and police both.
And tell us a little bit more about what this position would do.
I'll have Claire do that. She did all of the research on this position.
Okay.
So this, as Deb mentioned, there would be one role in the police department and one in the fire department. It's kind of a pseudo case management position. So this individual is a civilian. They would receive referrals from police or fire based on interactions that they had with individuals on scenes typically, but not necessarily exclusive to on scenes, but the referrals would come from those two departments. And then my understanding is they'd kind of set that person up, interview them work with their family and set them up with resources related to mental health, substance abuse, housing, any areas where they feel like they're at risk.
Great, thanks. That was consistent with our discussion this morning, and it's something I thought was worth pointing out, and I think a valuable addition to what our police and firefighters do and what people in crisis need. So thank you. I look forward to supporting this next week.
Thank you. Councilmember Goodwin, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I had a question along the lines of Council Member Festerson about this role. What department will house this role?
The fire department and the police department would each have one.
I see. So there would be two, one for fire, one for police. How will this work with the mental health specialist? I know that's probably not the right term, that's currently on staff with OPD.
That is a great question. I do not have the answer to that question, but could discuss it with the mental health coordinator to get more information on that. I do imagine they may have some overlap in terms of like referrals and individuals, but.
And then I think a secondary question to that I'd love to have the answer, and again, if you need to follow up, that's great, would be how do you see this person's role coordinating with our homeless coordinator?
I imagine there would be some overlap with that as well. One of the at-risk factors that they mention is housing. So I don't know the extent to which that they would work with that person, but I imagine there would be some collaboration there.
Yeah, I think that clarity would be important to us even as council members, because oftentimes we are, fielding these questions as well, and so understanding how to refer and how to navigate that would be important. So
yes,
I look forward to getting more information on that.
I will
Thank you.
that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Item 33, an ordinance to amend Section 23-177 of the Omaha Municipal Code by adding the employment classification for Engineering Technician 3. Personnel Board recommends approval.
Public hearing is now open on item number 33. Are there proponents here today? I'll bet there is. Good afternoon again.
Claire Anderson Hubbard, City HR. Here to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any other proponents? Seeing none, are there? Jimmy, come on down.
Jim Tyler, City of Omaha Public Works. I let the people from Human Resources know that if there were, excuse me.
Microphone's closer. There you go.
Jim Tyler, Public Works. If there are any questions that Human Resources can't answer, I'm here to answer those for you.
Thanks. Is there any other proponents here? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Public hearing is closed.
Item 34, an ordinance to amend Sections 23-177, 23-438, and 23-445 of the Omaha Municipal Code to reflect the changes negotiated for Functional Employees Group for 2026 through 2029. Personnel Board recommends approval.
I will open the public hearing on item number 34. Proponents, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Bernard Innenbosch, Deputy City Attorney. I'm here with Annie Matthews and Tyler Hibika, who are part of the negotiating team. The item before you is a contract with the Functional Employment Group. They're a group of approximately 20 clerical folks who have access to labor negotiation material. Therefore, they were kicked out of or separated from Local 251. And you're going to see a similar pattern between this and the Semtech contract, which is the next one in the AC that'll be next month. Similar wage increases and similar additional benefits. Just by way of touching, these employees have been subject to a 2% per year wage increase for the last 3 years. For the 4-year term of this agreement, it's 4% for 2026 and then 3 years for 27, 28, and 29. Kind of some of the notable things, the city, through support of the mayor's office, is now going to be offering parental leave to its employees. So these are the first series of contracts that you're going to see with 6 weeks of parental leave for employees who have qualifying births, adoptions, or fostering of a minor child. A couple other changes that you'll see consistently is a parking reimbursement account for those employees who work downtown and are not provided parking, whereas most of our employees around the city are. and it's an opportunity to offset some of the costs that they incur as a result of that. Some increases in dental insurance from $1,000 to $1,750. Those amounts have not been increased since the early 1990s, and a slight increase in the amount of sick leave that employees can use for the benefit of their family to take care of kids, and then an increase in the amount of sick leave that's paid out for those employees who carry significant sick leave balances at the time of retirement. So happy to answer any questions. If you want me to do anything more detailed, happy to do so, but I do also want to thank Ms. Matthews and Mr. Hibika for their assistance in negotiations in this contract and the others as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other proponents here today? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Public hearing is closed.
Item 35, an ordinance to amend multiple sections of Chapter 23 of the Omaha Municipal Code to reflect changes negotiated with the Civilian Management Professional and Technical Employees Council for 2026 through 2029. Personnel Board recommends approval.
Public hearing is now open on item number 35. Mr. Andenbosch.
Bernard Andenbosch, Deputy City Attorney. I won't reiterate what I already said. This is a contract with the Civilian Management Professional Technical Employee Council, the group of approximately 500 employees that represent our civilian management and professional employees. As I said, this is the second one of 3 we'll have soon, and hopefully have others coming after that. But the benefits and increases are similar to what I talked about for functionals. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Is there any other proponents?
Randy Nguyen, Simtech President, 1819 Farnham Street. Here to ask for your support and approval of this contract. We believe it's a fair contract, and it benefits both the city and employees. We also like to additionally express our appreciation for the work of the city's negotiation team and the support of the administration. Here to happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Is there any other proponents here? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Public hearing is closed. Councilmember Festerson, you're recognized.
Thanks, Mr. President. Bernard, if you would, just a couple of quick questions for you on these labor agreements. I just want folks to know that the administration and the city council take these agreements very seriously as we work with our employee groups to make sure they're well provided for while also providing efficient city services and watching out for the taxpayers. So these are multi-year agreements, and the 4% salary increase in 2026 proposed here is already accommodated in the 2026 budget, right?
It is. That amount was established in the wage adjustment account. I think there was an appreciation for the fact that the employees had smaller increases in the past years, and unfortunately we've had some unprecedented inflation numbers in the last 3 or 4 years that we haven't really seen for the last 15 years. So I think there was a recognition of that as we were getting ready to negotiate, and the finance department accounted for that in their projections.
And as you summarize the agreements, they talk about wages and various other benefits and health care. They do not make any changes to the current pension contributions from the city or employees, right?
Correct.
And the reason for that is we believe that what was a financial crisis in 2009 and 2010 and remedied through negotiations at that time continues in these contracts. And although the pensions themselves, civilian and public safety pensions, are still underfunded, they're on track with that new projection where we thought they'd be at this stage, right?
Correct. The pension reform for civilians was implemented in 2015. At that time, the expectation is it would take till 2046 to be fully funded, so 31 years. We're actually a couple years ahead of that right now. The projection is to be fully funded by 2044. What I would say, and I spoke before the retirement committee of the legislature last week, is we put a plan in place. The expectation, if you looked at the projection, it was very, very gradual growth. 10 or 15 years, frankly, in the 50% range. But when you start to get to the mid-70s and 80s, that increase will be 4 or 5% per year. That's the nature of what we're attempting to do, which is basically amortize the unfunded liability for those employees that have already retired.
Yeah. Thank you. I think it's just important that we talk about that and not forget about those things and let people know that we're still watching that very closely.
Correct.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 36, an ordinance to approve an agreement with Douglas County in the amount of $79,000 and to authorize funding from the fiscal year 2024 Stop Violence Against Women grant to provide partial funding for one full-time misdemeanor prosecutor and one full-time liaison in the Douglas County Attorney's Office.
The public hearing is now open on item number 36. Are there any proponents here today? Seeing none, are there any opponents?
Good afternoon, Omaha City Council, Donnie R. Johnson, the Johnson Equestrian Foundation, and North Omaha Concerned Citizen Foundation, 4928 North 52nd Street. Most of you folks here wasn't born in the 70s, and therefore you probably don't understand what you're doing. We've had a lot of complaints over the years when the church said the courts should stay out of marriage, it's sacred. And the courts was right. We have come to the conclusion the church was right. And therefore, the funding of some of these programs in the 70s goes back to the same. Are all these programs for women's, or is the church was right at the time? We learned it from the Kramer versus Kramer, Iron Woman, Hear Me Roar.
Donnie, we need to stay on topic, please.
Yeah, but can you start sending some money for the medical marijuana instead of all this money for the women?
Donnie, you're off topic now. Thank you. Are there any other opponents? Public hearing is closed.
Item 37, an ordinance to amend Section 44-151 of the Omaha Municipal Code regarding the 2023 National Electrical Code. A is amendment of the whole requested by Councilmember Rowe.
The public hearing is now open on item number 37. Are there any proponents?
Good afternoon. My name is John Niebel, J-O-N-N-E-B-E-L, on behalf of the IBW Electrical Workers Local 22, 8946 L Street. Just want to thank the council members for bringing this back and giving us the process to hear out any concerns and not making it just a simple addition and update when this code comes out. A little bit of history on the code. Since 1897, it's been updated every 3 years, and that process involves months-long adaptation and revision of suggested ideas on how we can make the electrical industry safer. So when that process takes hold, it's about several thousand codes are suggested to be revised, and it gets whittled down over those months-long process to a few hundred. And what we're debating here today at this time is effectively a handful of codes that the state refused to adopt when they adopted the 2023 version of the National Electrical Code. Those codes come down to 3 different sections. One is a new service disconnect on the exterior of a home that would allow first responders to disconnect power before entering a home that is flooded or on fire. The second one is for a whole home surge protector that provides for a more affordable living standard in a home. Obviously, it protects your home against surges and would protect your electronics and large appliances with digital displays from being damaged in the instance of a surge. So it's a minimal cost to save thousands on that end for those appliances. And the third is probably the most critical here, and that's a life safety code that would expand the ability to have life safety equipment on large appliances and in different areas of the home. Those are in the form of GFCI. You'd probably understand what they are if you think about your bathrooms and your kitchen countertops, the little receptacles with the reset button. Basically, it's a smart receptacle or a smart breaker that says, the breaker would understand if someone is being electrocuted and cut power to that device. So I would like to expand that, get a full slate. I know my time's currently up, so I know we've done this before. If anybody has any questions for clarification, I'm happy to provide answers. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other proponents here today on item number 37? Are there any opponents?
Good afternoon, Nick Dolphins, 9719 Giles Road in La Vista. I'm speaking on behalf of the Metro Omaha Builders Association and its 450 members. I'm from Omaha, had a 22-year career building just in the Metro Omaha area. on the HAP committee for the city of Omaha and have the honor of serving through MOBA on the mayor's new task force for affordable housing. In my career, these code books have grown and grown. The code book we're talking about has around 1,000 pages and several thousand codes written in there. When you question one of these items in a meeting like this or a thoughtful meeting on code implementation, the response is oftentimes, what's the price of one human life? And to me, that's difficult. It implies there's one virtuous decision to make, and we all care about human life. I'm raising 3 boys. We care about the kids, we care about neighbors, but that's the type of comment to keep elected officials on their heels, to kind of stop a thoughtful conversation. But we're starting to turn a page in our country on looking at this. These codes have gone from hundreds of dollars to thousands of dollars, and now we have statistics that it's tens of thousands of dollars we're adding to these homes. And it's definitely a large item making homes less affordable. So now we have a well-documented affordability crisis, and thankfully elected officials across the country are starting to question this. The National Association of Home Builders suggests 12 amendments to this code. MOBA worked with the unicameral to come up with 8 of them. Anna, the last time we talked about this, specifically stated these 8 items are not eminently dangerous or life safety issues, in her opinion. North Carolina had 36 amendments. Utah had 10. Virginia created a task force within their state and saved $24,000 on the price of one home because they put a lot more thought into this than most of us are. 2 states have moratoriums on all code changes until 2031. So there's some really great momentum of people thinking a little bit harder than we have in the past, not conceding safety, but really digging into it. So I think Omaha has the opportunity today to do the same and run with that momentum. And I hope we look at it that way.
Your time is up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And just so you guys know, there's lights up there. I don't know if you can see it, but it kind of, little cheaters there for the 3 minutes kind of indicates for you. So the floor is yours.
Thank you. My name is Dave Votman. I'm the founder and senior vice president of the home company in Omaha. We build about 175 homes a year, making us the 3rd biggest home builder in the state. And we also develop about 400 residential lots per year. What I'd like to point out, and I don't know how I can get this to work, but this home on the screen, in 2012, we founded the home company. And we built this house in 2012 for $300,000. In fact, I remember selling the exact same one for $299,900 in 2012. This same home in today's market is averaging $585,000 a house. Now, there are multiple reasons that happened. Land went up, regulations on land went up, labor, materials, and in general, just regulation that we're talking about today. It's become a death of 1,000 cuts. It's $1,000 or it's $2,000, but over time, it adds up to an incredibly large number that we're making it unaffordable for Omahans to have homes. National Association of Home Builders did an analysis of every large community, so Omaha specific, that if you increase the price of a home by $1,000, Omaha is losing 546 families that can now not afford a home. $2,000 is over 1,000 families that cannot afford a home, and so on and so forth. We've identified about $24,000 in regulations that have increased in just the recent past that have increased. Like Nick had said earlier, safety is very important to us. We agree with that. We build our homes safe. But what I would ask for the members of this council is that if this is a safety issue, like the proponent of it said, I would ask, once this passes, how many of you are going to go back and retrofit your homes with all of these items? I'll bet not many. And that's the important part that we want to get across is while we agree with safety, I know I'm not going back and retrofitting my homes with these 8 items. There's no point. The homes that we're building today are 100 times safer than the ones that were built even 20, 30, 40 years ago. At some point in time with this task force that they're doing with the mayor, we can talk about affordability or we can actually do something about affordability. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any other opponents here to speak today?
Melvin Sudbeck, 16255 Woodland Drive with Sudbeck Homes. We've been working with quite a few emerging and young developers in the northeast part of town, working on a much needed affordable housing. And here again too, it's a price. I think our homes are as safe as they've ever been. We keep adding more and more expenses on to the houses that our affordability is just not working. With some of our young developers, it's very tricky to get these projects to work where they're successful and we can place much needed families in housing. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there any other opponents here today?
Hi, I'm Corey Jensen with Corey Jensen Construction, 7719 North 159th Street, in Bennington. And just a small contractor, starter home builder. And I just feel like this increase in price will just really hurt trying to keep the price down. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other opponents?
Larry Arkfeld, 15216 Ballman Ave. Yes, some of the safety issues probably are fine, but there's way too many that you're involved in that for a nonprofit organization to do housing. For people that want to live the dream of having a new house, this increase will pretty much kill them. I mean, you're not talking $1,000, you could be talking $5,000 to $6,000 because there will be price gouging going. You put a GFI on an AC. I've talked to many AC mechanics, and they have said the same thing, that years down the road, that AC will start to cause more problems firing up in the springtime. The GFI is going to trip. You're going to call an electrician. He's going to come in, throw a breaker in that he doesn't need to, and charge you, it could be anywhere $200 to $300 that you're wasting money on. Now, the big issue is grounding. Improper grounding is what's going on, and that is what needs to be looked into. I've seen it many times out there in the field, and yes, there is a lot of safety measures that can be taken to stop what's going on. But as far as I can tell, for the person to live the dream of building a new house, this increase is going to get ridiculous. It's up to now that, what do we do? Just build houses for millionaires? Because that's what's happening. The small middle-class person cannot afford to build a dream house like they want because they're just way overpriced. And I have to agree with a lot of these builders that they're right. Stuff needs to change. I agree. There is safety measures that can be taken, that should be taken out in the field. And a lot of it is craftsmanship has gone down drastically. And my 40 years in the business, I've seen it in houses that we haven't done, that people cut corners because it's the almighty dollar. That is what needs to come to an end. We need to take care of people more than our pocketbooks. And I think Omaha would flourish from it, from doing stuff like this versus out to just gouge people, because it is not fair. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other opponents?
Well, there's something I agree with.
Larry Storr, 5015 Lafayette Avenue, Omaha 68132. I like the way some of them get to go slightly off topic and they're not interrupted. People like myself and Donnie seldom do. But I'm going to go off topic a little bit here because I wonder.
Stay on topic, Larry, or you're going to be dismissed.
Excuse me, sir. You did not interrupt anybody.
You said you're going to go off topic. I'm just preempting you.
Don't, please. Let me finish.
Don't tell me, Larry.
I'm wondering, sir.
The mic is yours. If you're going to go off topic, you're going to be removed.
This is really ridiculous.
The floor is
Why
yours.
don't you stand up and yell at me again like you did?
I'm not yelling at you at all, Larry.
This
The
is my
floor
time.
yours.
3 minutes you're using.
The floor is yours.
May I speak? I'm wondering if this is a way you drive citizens out of their homes with higher prices because somebody went in and looked and said, oh, you got a bad circuit in the house. Here's what you're going to get fined if you don't fix it. Is that how we get all these vacant homes that are being broken into because people moved out? Windows broken into and boarded up? Mr. Harding, just look at the Mega Saver on Hamilton Street.
You're off topic,
and Northwest
Larry.
Radio.
You're
and
off
drive
topic.
that area.
Larry, you're
and
off
your,
topic.
Your
Please
area.
cut the mic.
You'll see what I'm talking about.
You're off topic, please. Thank you.
Vacant homes. Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you very much. This is
Thank
very
you.
nice of you. Very nice of you.
Next speaker, thank you for your patience. The floor is yours.
Nope, over. There. Nope, right here. Lay down. Good girl. Yeah, that's fine. Sorry, I just moved, so I had to pull up my address because I haven't memorized it yet. Alexander Liu, address is 4354 North 88th Plaza, Omaha, 68134. More of a question actually for you, and I guess any of the builders if they can answer this. So I'm no expert in housing or anything, but I'm honestly curious as to how much of an impact safety is actually going to have on affordable housing, because I don't think that increased safety features are the reason that housing is so affordable, or sorry, not affordable, excuse me, because as we increase safety, that if it is the reason that housing is so unaffordable for people, I don't think that should be the reason people are being pressed out of homes or that people are not able to buy homes. Personally, if that is the reason, which I don't think it is, that is kind of ridiculous. Then obviously something should be changed. However, if you just are looking at the housing market and things if you're referring to the 2008 housing crash, as somebody else referred to before, it wasn't safety features that caused that. That was banks mishandling things. Had nothing to do with safety features. So we are looking in the wrong place if we're going to try and blame added safety for the reason that people can't afford homes. If we need to increase things and people in the electrical unions think this is a necessary thing because they are seeing issues with maybe power surges or whatever else is the reason. I don't know if you'd mentioned why you thought this was a thin issue and I just misheard it. I don't know. I might have missed that. That might have been my fault. Whatever the reason is, probably it's a good thing that they're suggesting that. Again, I'm not an expert in all the electrical stuff, but safety features should not be a reason that people cannot have homes. If it is a necessary thing, yeah, we should probably add it. But again, something we should look into. I don't think it's a bad thing to want to have added safety features, but people should also be able to afford to have a home.
Thank you. And just for the record, this is an opposition right now, or are you an opponent?
Like I said, I'm not against having it. It says more like the question is I don't understand why this should be a contentious issue, and I was more asking the experts here, like I said, on either side, because I'm not an expert in this field, and I'd like it to be answered by whoever thinks they can answer that.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other opponents here today?
Good afternoon, Mr. President and Council. My name is Jason Thielen. I'm here on behalf of Welcome Home, which is a nonprofit organization made up of business owners, individuals, and other nonprofits working with elected officials such as yourself to try to work on the affordability issue through non-taxpayer subsidized ways of doing it. And this is a great example of it. If we have the courage today to vote like we should vote. I'm not going to repeat a lot of what's already been said.
Sir, can we get your address, please? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No problem.
10909 Mill Valley Road, Suite 100, Omaha, Nebraska, 68154.
Thank you.
It's been a while since I've seen you all. As of the end of this year, according to Omaha Multiple Listing Services, the average closed price of a newly constructed home in Omaha is $491,000. $491,000. And I know the thought is, well, geez, they must be making a ton of money because they're building them so expensive. And the reality is the costs have gone up astronomically. Not all the fault of building codes. There's a very, very complicated industry, the housing and development industry is. We're working it every day. But I think we have lost our way in terms of what is realistic and what is needed If I want to put as many safety features into my home to bubble wrap it and make sure if I fall or my kids run into something, nothing happens to me, I should be able to do that. But anytime government starts to mandate things, which is what you're doing, as this was already brought before this council last year, it's being brought back up for obvious reasons, mandates cost people money. And isn't the people that can afford it you cost? It's the very constituents in which every one of you sit up here, claim to be supportive of, trying to take care of, that get hurt the most because they don't have options. Those people that can afford a $500,000 house have options. Why are we in the situation we're in? Partly because of the 2009 crisis that had happened. We lost a generation of builders. We lost thousands and thousands of units brought on the market to keep up with pace. We do not build enough housing. That's across the country. Everybody knows that. We have to make hard decisions. And you have to put your political aspirations aside and do the right thing. Vote against this. Vote for Mr. Rowe's amendment. I'm on the HAP committee, and I know my time's almost up. Very frustrating for me. I get asked by the professionals that I work with every single day to give my time for free to help the city out. The guiding principle of the comp plan, I'm a part of that housing group as well. Omaha is a place where people can afford to live and choose the housing and lifestyle that best suits them. That's a guiding principle of the comp plan, of which all of you voted for, as well as the HAP, Housing Affordable Action Plan, that you all voted for as well, to put us, where is the commitment to the word affordability that every one of you have heard use over the years? Where's the commitment? If you vote for this, you're not committed for affordability.
Your time is up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Mark Stadola, owner of Charleston Homes, 19211 Grand Avenue Circle, Omaha, Nebraska, 68022. I've been in this home building industry for almost 40 years. For 30 years, I've worked with the city of Omaha, going back with Jay Davis. Many of you know Jay Davis. Worked on many code committees with him as we reviewed codes over the years. IBEW came up here as a proponent, talked about electrical industry safer. We all want this industry safer. We've instituted many codes over the years to make it safer. I've gone out with Jay Davis with different city officials after tornadoes. The most recent one a year and a half ago in Elkhorn affected one of my communities, and we're trying to figure out how can we make things safer. These 8 items that are amended out aren't part of that group. You have at the state level, they've amended it out. Every jurisdiction around Omaha has accepted that. Bellevue, Papillion, Gretna, Douglas County, all of their experts have said the state's doing the right thing. Your own experts, Anna Bezboyosny, Mike Boverdine, we've met with, we've talked to them. Anna spoke with you last time this was up and said, leave it the way it is. These are your experts, okay? Having worked so many years with Jay Davis and going back and working with Anna, it's always been about life safety, the integrity of the home. 2 of the most expensive issues here, we talked about the safety of the firefighters. The firefighters can disconnect the meter right now, as it is. It's simple for them to do. I'm not going to explain it because I don't want everybody to know how to do it. But if you do it this way and put that disconnect, a 5-year-old will be able to go up and shut the power off to your home. People will put a lock on it. Adding a 50 amp to a carport. We currently have that option. Less than 5% of the people choose that option. Okay, explain to me, you guys talk a lot about why we're doing different things with these soccer fields, why it's smart. Please tell me why life safety, it's important to put a 50 amp in a garage. Why? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President, members of the council, Perry Nealon, I'll spell it, I did not sign in, P-E-R-R-E-N-E-I-L-A-N, here before you today on behalf of the Omaha Area Board of Realtors and its more than 3,200 members, all of which live and work in each one of your districts. What are we doing here, guys? I mean, come on. All 7 of you came and sat before the Omaha Realtors and their Government Affairs Committee and Board of Directors and said, I will do whatever I can to support affordable housing and reduce regulations. We're not even asking you to pull back on any existing regulations. We're asking you to stop piling on. Stop the death by 1,000 cuts. This is not that hard to say no to, okay? We're doing what we get. We're not Vail or San Francisco. We're almost at $500,000 in Omaha, Nebraska. 13 years from now, it's gonna be $1 million. We can't keep doing it. I'm asking you to keep your word that you made, do the right thing, support the Roe Amendment, and not the full ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other opponents here? Public hearing is closed. I'll have a couple of comments. I appreciate everybody coming down today. I brought this forward. It was the same one that passed the city council last year, and it was vetoed by the former mayor. To me, this is about safe, affordable housing. It's common sense for the families that live in Omaha. It's life safety measures. We had testimony in Lincoln from several different groups of people that were in support of this. The state electrical inspector, manufacturing, insurance companies, I believe the fire marshal. This, as we looked at this and analyzed it, when I got on the council and now, I brought it back because I feel strong about that we're not penalizing affordable housing and saying this is the spear of the arrow that's going to terminate affordable housing. We can have safe, affordable housing with the measures that we're putting in here today. I got a couple questions for Mr. Nebo, please, if you could come back up.
Yes, sir.
Name and address.
Oh, John Nebel, 8946 L Street.
Mr. Nebel, how many states in the country have what we have before us here today? Is this something new?
No. So 38 states have adopted a form of the 2020 or 2023 code. 2020, the codes that we're discussing here today all came from the 2020 edition. Nebraska was working under the 2017 edition, skipped 2020, went right to 2023. So 38 states have already made amendments.
Okay, and we talk about life safety measures. Can you explain what that means to people that are listening today, what the life safety measures are?
So yeah, when the code started, it was very thin, and we expanded to 1,000 pages. When electricians started our union, it was 3 years life expectancy. Now we can work a whole career. So the life-saving measures are all in that 1,000-page document, and they're riddled throughout it. And specifically for this one, it's GFI protection. So it means if you touch something that's plugged in, you're not going to get electrocuted. The breakers that we're talking about installing would sense that, and they would be able to turn off, where the current breakers do not have that type of technology, and they would just allow the electricity to flow.
Okay, and potential savings to not only the safety for people that are families that are going to be living in homes, what are the savings with this equipment that it'll bring? And I know there's a little bit of cost to it. What would you say the cost is? You figured it up. What is the cost for the equipment we're talking about here today?
It's around $700. I went to a local retailer over the weekend, priced it all out, and it was $100 more per breaker. Typical home needs about 3 of those breakers, and it was $100 for the whole home surge protector, maybe $110 if I remember right. And then the cost for the combo meter disconnect is $269, I believe, at the local retailer right now. Now, all of that together, you should also consider that there's an offset cost of the material that's outdated that you would no longer have to buy. So we're spending $700 there. We're not spending another $200 and some on that outdated material. So overall cost is around $500.
Okay, and explain again, for laymen and women out there listening, a basement GFI, what is that?
It's just a different type of receptacle like the one you've seen in your kitchen countertops and your bathrooms. We've been around for a couple decades. And it's a GFI in the basement. The reason why we put them in the basement, or why this code wants to put them in the basement, is because basements are susceptible to flooding. So people with bare feet down there could be at risk of being electrocuted if you don't have proper electrical protections.
And with this protection, with the basement GFI, this provides it and it prevents somebody from getting electrocuted?
Correct.
Okay. The range and dryer GFI, same concept?
Same concept, yep. People were being electrocuted around the dryers from faulty wiring. This technology would allow the circuit to understand that there was something wrong, someone being electrocuted, it would shut it down.
Okay. And the meter socket disconnect, walk me through. Do you have a picture you can show what that looks like?
Yes. So the meter socket disconnect, the gentleman that spoke on that the fireman can pull the meter and shut off power, that's correct, that's accurate, but there's a risk to that because you're pulling a live circuit under load, and when you separate power like that, when it's unprotected, there's a chance that it could arc and burn the individual doing it. So that's why you don't want to do it. I also won't tell you how to do that, but this is the combo meter socket that would be installed. So if anybody knows what their meter socket looks like, it's typically just this box with the round circle in it. We just have a breaker underneath it. It's got a door cover on it. A person generally wouldn't even know what they were looking at. Firemen would know, first responders would know, electricians would know, and you could put a lock on it. Firemen have their universal skeleton key bolt cutter that could open it up, but it's not going to be something that a 5-year-old is going to come and disconnect. And just so you're aware too, if you think that's a problem, anybody that has the air conditioner has a disconnect on the outside of their house already. Looks similar to that. It's got a cover on it, and you don't really know it's a disconnect, but any 5-year-old could walk up and turn it off if they knew about it. But since we're not hearing about rampant disconnects being flipped, I don't think it's going to be a problem.
Okay. And the surge protection that we're speaking of here today with this, what does a surge protector do?
It absorbs the electric surge that's coming through on the power lines. What it would do, it would take the hit, so the electronic boards in your microwaves, your ranges, your fridges anymore, any computer, anything that has a chip board in it is susceptible to these surges. So it would absorb the hit so those devices wouldn't take it and wouldn't need to be replaced.
And if you didn't have that surge, is it safe to say that with our grid challenges that we're having, I know that's been discussed in the news with the Omaha Public Power District and the Southwest Power Pool and just the grid in the country in general, is it safe to say that if you don't have that surge protection and a surge happen in your house, those motherboards, those electronics, the appliances, is it safe to say that the price tag for a surge could be in the tens of thousands of dollars?
You betcha. Yeah, it's the cost of replacing the appliance. If not the appliance, it's just the board. To go on a little bit of a crosstalk, the gentleman from the home company, it's a nice home, the Sedona, I live in it. I appreciate that home, but I would be going back and putting in the surge protector because I did have a surge and I lost my microwave and the board to my oven in the last year. So that cost me around $450, I think, to replace those.
Okay. Thank you. We have a lot of lights on. I want to yield my time and I'll follow up on the end. Thank you. Councilman Rowe, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I did have a couple of questions. And just as a background, and don't go away, John, I have some questions for you, but it was a year ago, in January, I think, that John Kavanaugh introduced the code adoption at the state level. And so you're right, they adopted the 2023 code with, I think it was with 5 carve-outs that are itemized. And that's where the basis of my amendment was to sync up the Omaha code with the state code, and honestly to sync us up with other jurisdictions in our neighborhood, Papillion, Sarpy County, Douglas County, other areas that our electricians are working in. And John introduced that, and it was vetted, and I'm sure there was plenty of conversation. It was signed by the governor in March, so that's the code that we're working under. And we do need to sync up because we're out of compliance today. So I appreciate Danny bringing it back up, but I think we need to adopt the amendment to put us in alignment with what the state is doing. And I do have a couple of electrical questions. The one is the GFI currently is required on 125 volt outlets, right? And under the new code, I think it includes up to 250 volt outlets, and that's where you get the dryer and those other big appliances, right?
Correct, yes.
And so just doing a little bit of research, are those GFIs that you're buying, that our electricians are buying today to handle those pieces of equipment, are they made to handle up to 250 volts? Or because what I read was that there's a thing called nuisance tripping, and what you find is it's a failure of the outlet. It's not necessarily an issue with the appliance that's going to shock somebody. It's a failure of the outlet. Does that make sense?
I've heard of it. Yeah, so the GFIs, when they originally came out, it was just for 120 volt, so it was like a regular plug-in thing, and the idea was those are things that everyone's going to be able to plug into. The bigger equipment has a different style of plug. People generally don't plug into those unless they have that type of equipment. So that was where the separation was. We spent a couple decades working with it. We heard about nuisance tripping. I was in the field for 20 years, and I never dealt with a nuisance trip. It was always a faulty piece of equipment. It was like the GFI it just goes bad and doesn't reset. It doesn't generally just have a nuisance tripping, but it has been something I've heard in the industry.
I think some of the manufacturers in the industry asked for kind of a moratorium on it until later in 2026 so that they could develop a product that would work in that case. But I don't think they're there yet. I think that's why we're seeing the failure. But I'm not an electrician. I'm just asking the question.
I haven't seen it, no.
The other one was on the emergency disconnect. I'm not too worried about the 5-year-old. The thing that worries me is, and I hate to admit this, but once in a while I'll go on social media, and there's one that I just consider evil, and it's called Nextdoor. And every day I see kids running up and doing ding dong ditch. You know, they're disrupting their neighbors, they're hitting the doorbell, they're running, they're smashing into the garage door, they're doing just nuisance things. My concern is that they're going to figure out how to throw that switch, how to hit that lever, and all of a sudden now I've got a house without power. And I'm not even so much concerned about me and it happening to me, because I can just go out and throw the switch. But, you know, if my mom, who lives in Lincoln, or if she had lived in Omaha and wanted to go spend 3 months in Florida, and somebody came by and hit that switch, now we have a serious problem. There's a serious problem because there's nobody there to know it. And water pipes freeze. There's all sorts of bad things that happen. It's the 15-year-old that I'm worried about, not the 5-year-old or the 14-year-old or the 12-year-old.
Yeah, I think the cover with the little hole there, that's a lock mechanism, so you can padlock it and you won't have that problem.
Well, that's the craziest argument I've heard all day. And I'm just trying to be honest, being transparent. Why would I put a lock on something that the fire department's going to have to cut off if the intent is for them to quickly be able to disconnect the power? I just don't follow that reasoning.
Otherwise, they need to, like, if they don't want to risk themselves by pulling the meter and creating an arc, they would wait for utility to come and do it. So you're waiting for some other professional to come and disconnect it. Instead, you just have to cut a lock and you can open it and disconnect it.
Okay. I had a couple other questions on that, just on the basics of the electronics, but I'd rather move on to the affordability piece. And so you can sit down. But I appreciate the mayor's commitment to affordable housing. Many of us, not all of us, but many of us passed the Affordability Housing Action Plan, the HAP plan. And some of us have been frustrated with the lack of action that's come out of it. And we've had some action. We've approved some ADUs and we've done some things to help with affordability, but not to the, in my mind, it's not been to the level of, it's not moving the dial on the affordability issue. And so I appreciate the mayor appointing the task force, and actually brought a list of the names. It's people that are in the industry, and they're smart. They're smart people. Jody Holston from over here is there. Amanda Brewer from Habitat. Aaron Bach, Megan Lutz from Alley Pointer Architects. Nick is going to be serving on the task force. Greg Paskich from the City Planning Department. Steve Jensen from the Mayor's Office, and Key Station and myself are going to be serving on this task force. Now, we haven't convened yet. Our first meeting is next week. My concern is, how do I go to that meeting and suggest what I assumed this was low-hanging fruit? How am I going to suggest things that really are going to take courage to pass, things that really will move the dial? I'm not sure how I'm going to handle that meeting, but I do appreciate, at least with that smaller group, I think we have an opportunity to make a difference, and I hope that we can make a difference. And I hope the council, because as you said, or as I heard, all 7 of us, it's important to all of us. We want to see more housing built. We know how important that is. So anyway, I'm going to support the amendment, clearly, and I'd appreciate everybody's support in a couple of weeks. Thanks, Mr. President.
Thank you. Council Member Harding, you're recognized.
First, I'm glad you're going to support your own amendment, but I'm going to support it too, so you know. Actually, John, could I have you come up? Some of this is going to feel like deja vu all over again, because a lot of the same arguments I think a lot of us on this council have today, whether it's pro or con, are the same ones we had the last time we visited this issue. But I know you did. I wrote down initially that you didn't bring up the costs. I think you got those costs out on the table when Council President Bagley was asking you. But one of the things I think you mentioned the last time you were up here was the number of deaths that had occurred due to electrical accidents. Do you remember what those stats were?
I don't know the stats offhand, but I do know there was deaths around children playing around dryers and air conditioners.
Okay, I think my memory, and I went back and I revisited the testimony from last November when we were discussing this. I think it was a little over 100, and that was over a 10-year period of time. But I wanted to know, since then, how many of those that were injured or lost their life were due to I'll say the lack of these amended items within the 2023 code.
I'm not sure, but I can definitely do some research and see if I can find out.
Okay, I'd appreciate that. And so those were the questions I had for you. Thank you. I know, we talked, or a number of the people who spoke in opposition talked about wanting to have safe environments and wanting to make sure that the products that they're proud of and sell every day are just exactly that. And I do think these seem to be a bit of an overreach to include these. We cannot adopt a code more lenient than this state, but other states have. We can adopt the same one that the state has adopted already. I'm going to ask Mr. Rowe, because I think I remember one of them was now you're required to have a surface mount plug on a countertop, correct? Rather than having it on the side. That's one of the ones that maybe didn't get included in the list of.
Right. That should have been opted out as well. That should have been item number 6 in my view, but it didn't get thought through. So today there's a device that is required to be put on the top of the countertop, not on the side of the countertop. It's on a hydraulic, like a plunger system, so it can be level with the countertop. And in my view, it's pretty easy place for chili to.
I would agree. And there, as was mentioned too by some of the testifiers, is that there are some states that certainly adopted the code with even more amendments and that we're considering, or even had moratoriums on what we're currently discussing. You know, I find it also interesting that later on our agenda, speaking of affordability, we have an item on the bonding in the amount of to the tune of $40 million to address affordable housing. And I know Mr. Thielen, who's worked very hard on the Welcome Home, maybe didn't get a chance to throw this statistic out today because of time, but anywhere from 25 to 32% of a home today is tied up. The price of that home is tied up in regulations. Now, I'm not so naive to think that we just throw all the regulations out the window and the price is going to be 23 to 32% lower. But we need to have common sense approaches to these issues. We know we're not jeopardizing safety with our own permits and inspections. Professional has said so. The state has said so. Other communities, as was brought up with Papillion, La Vista, Bellevue, and others, have adopted the code with the amendments. So I'm very confident that we're not compromising safety. The other issue that I know will be, again, deja vu all over again, that Dave Ottman brought up was the $1,000 increase. It was interesting. I think, Dave, the last time we discussed this, the $1,000 increase I had written down was 435 families that was taken out of the market for that house. And your statistics now say over almost 550. So that's grown exponentially just in the year we've been talking about this. So again, these are want-to-haves. They're not need-to-haves for safety purposes. And if we continue, as Mr. Nealon said, and others have said, if we continue to have death by 1,000 paper cuts, this is exactly the direction we're going. And if we're taking out the ability for almost 550 people, I'll even use John's numbers. If it's if it's only 500, which I doubt, but if it's only 500, we're still taking out probably 350 families that could otherwise be affording a home. These are reasonable, not safety-threatening amendments. The state has adopted them. The other metropolitan area jurisdictions have adopted them. And for the sake of making sure that we're not adding needlessly burdensome requirements to homes and the cost of those homes, which are already a real issue, I'm supporting Mr. Rowe's amendment.
Thank you. Councilmember Melton, you're recognized.
Thank you. And I won't repeat what Councilmember Rowe and Councilmember Harding have stated, but I think the most important thing is somebody stated, one of the opponents stated, you can talk about affordable housing, but you need to do something. Well, not only are we not doing something, we're actually doing something harmful to affordable housing. We're actually taking not just 2 steps backwards, but probably 4 steps backwards. And second, I've always heard from contractors and subcontractors, one of the most difficult things is when you have different rules and different codes in different jurisdictions. So that on one side of Harrison, you have one set of codes. On the other side of Harrison, you have another set of codes. I mean, we need to keep it consistent, at least on a statewide basis. It may be different on one side of the Missouri River versus the other side, but at least we need to make it statewide. We can't be having Omaha have a different code than Ralston, than Papillion, than La Vista. And to me, saying that we just want Omaha or just want Lincoln to have it, you know what? Go take this fight up with the state. Just because you lost at the state, don't come back to the city and say, well, by the way, we're going to target you, City of Omaha, and make the cost of your homes less affordable. And every single person that passed the Affordable Housing Act, I mean, how hypocritical that one of the first votes you're going to take, because we really haven't taken any action on the plan, so the first vote we're going to take, again, is to make housing more expensive. I mean, this might be the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard of, and all Don Rowe is asking for is these simple amendments. If somebody wants a surge protector, go buy a surge protector. We bought one. But by the way, losing a microwave is not losing your life. It's not a life-saving. It's definitely not life-saving. I mean, a 50 amp in the garage, what life is that saving? Requiring that? I mean, and again, saying, well, these are just little, it's just little. Again, death by 1,000 cuts. Oh, it was going to be 700. Really, it's only 500 because we're going to save 200. Well, that 500 is going to be 700 probably in the next year with the way that costs are going. So I guess I don't understand why we're going to have this fight in Omaha, why Omaha is going to do something different than the rest of the state, because it's going to make, when you're building housing, I mean, we had a lot of the home builders, you're not building just within the city limits of Omaha. You're building, well, in SIDs. You're building, again, just across Harrison Street. And so now it's like, wait, which code are we following? What do we have to do and where? So I'm not buying this life-saving business at all. This is more, what this is, you're taking your fight up at the city council because you lost at the state level, and you're making housing more expensive. I don't know who you're benefiting other than you lost at the state level. We need to make it statewide. We need to have all of our codes the same with our neighbors, and we need to make sure that the promise we made to the people of Omaha and the people that can't afford a home, that we're promising we're going to try and make buying a home more affordable. So let's do that. Let's not pass something that's going to make it more expensive. And again, the majority of the people, this is just for new homes. So I don't know if anybody lives in a new home that's sitting up here. I've been living in my house for 20 years, and the people before me, I think, lived in it for 20 years. So, I'm in a 40-year-old house, and I raised 3 boys too, who were into everything. And, if something was going to happen, it probably would happen to one of my boys. Somehow they made it through. Our house, I consider it pretty safe. And I, again, agree with Don with TikTok challenges. I don't know that we need to make anything more open to kids, and not 5-year-olds. I would say I'm more worried about the 15-year-olds who can come around and turn off the power in our houses. So I guess I'm in support. I think Councilman Rowe's amendments make sense, and they're not going to hurt affordability, because we've got all these other things. We've got inflation. We have the increased costs of everything. Let's not increase it even more. Let's not keep over 500 people from being able to afford a home. Let's keep our promise to the citizens of Omaha when we promised them that we would make housing more affordable. I agree with Mr. Nealon. We all made that promise. We all made that commitment, and we need to fulfill that commitment. And it's a commitment for the people that can't afford it, for lower income, for working class people that want to buy a house, want to be first-time home buyers. This is what we're talking about. $500,000 is the average cost of a home. Absolutely ridiculous. I could have never afforded that when I bought my first home. Bought my first home, it was $135,000. And that was, I don't know, in 2001. Let's keep our commitment to people and keep our commitment to making housing affordable. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Goodwin, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do appreciate hearing all the arguments today. You'll find that I'm a proponent of and a champion of mixed income housing. I believe we need all types of housing, and I think our builders know that. I think our electricians know that, and those of us who are on this council understand low income housing is different than the very vague word of affordability, because you do beg the question, who is housing affordable to? You're then starting talking about people's various income, and then affordability to me may mean something different to the next person. I find it interesting today that we don't have the folks who actually, let's just say the organizations that build affordable housing, they're not here today. I did do a little bit of homework, as I have people very adjacent to me who work in affordable housing for their careers, and I begged the question to them. Now, they're not here to speak for themselves, but I said, okay, I heard a framework of anywhere from $700 to $1,700 as being what this expense could be. And I said, does that change the cost of affordability for, in my district, a new build runs about $300,000. So when you're looking at a house that costs that much, does safety, okay, comparing to that cost adjustment really change the affordability factor? And the folks that I asked said no. Now, they're not here to speak for themselves. I'm not going to, mention the organizations, the local organizations that they work for. I'm also going to beg the question, or maybe make the point, because the word hypocrisy was used. My colleagues here did not vote for the poverty elimination plan, but then would beg and use the word hypocrite if we choose not to support, the amendment. And I would say that if we're looking at it at its face, and we're using the word affordable, that we'd also be supporting the poverty elimination plan, and it wasn't supported. And so I'm just going to throw that out there since the word hypocrite was used. I think what I found as I did my research was that folks said, you know what? No one wants housing to simply be unaffordable. But for those who are truly low income, and I represent one of the poorest zip codes in the state, that they also don't want to sacrifice safety. I appreciate our expert here in the electrician field that would give us that insight. And I think that they are the experts. They're the ones, I know we have the builders, but these are the electricians telling us that this is the upgrade we need. And so those are my thoughts around this. Definitely a champion of low-income housing, affordable housing, mixed income housing, market rate housing, luxury housing, and guess what? I actually have that all in my district. But I think there's a balance here we can strike, and so those are my thoughts and comments as I look to support this upgrade when it comes to vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no further lights.
Item 38, an ordinance to approve various purpose bonds, Series 2025B, in the amount of $75 million.
Public hearing is now open on item number 38. Are there any proponents? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Public hearing is closed.
Item 39, an ordinance to approve special tax revenue redevelopment bond, Series 2025, in the amount of $3,300,000 for Crossroads.
Public hearing is now open on item number 39. Are there any proponents here today? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Public hearing is closed.
Item 40, an ordinance to approve a lease purchase agreement with the City of Omaha Public Facilities Corporation in the amount of $37 million for the Midtown and UNMC parking garages.
Public hearing is now open on item number 40. Are there any proponents here? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Public hearing is closed.
Item 41, an ordinance to approve lease purchase agreement with the City of Omaha Public Facilities Corporation in the amount of $65 million for Tranquility Park.
Public hearing is now open on item number 41. Are there any proponents?
Good afternoon, Omaha City Council, Donnie R. Johnson, the Johnson Equestrian Foundation, and North Omaha Concerned Citizen Foundation, 4928 North 52nd. I think, you know, when I look at number 41, and what Mrs. Melton was saying earlier today, it's a wonderful program for tranquility. But as I mentioned earlier, a lot of you folks weren't born in the 70s, so can we say that the women are doing much better in soccer, like Billie Jean King beat that one fella? And you folks weren't born then when Billie Jean King, that lady.
Donnie,
beat,
let's stay on topic. Okay, thank you. Are there any opponents? I'm sorry, proponent? Opponent? Okay, please.
My name is Jeff Week. 13958 Fowler Avenue, Omaha 68164. I want to just start my comments as I was hesitant about opponents or proponents. I want tranquility probably more than anything that you can even know to get done. Tranquility, when I helped Brett Lidstrom get the turnback, Pete, thanks for saying nice things about the turnback, because that was my bill. That was the law I wrote and continued to amend over time to make it usable by all of these projects. So I'm really proud to hear the City of Omaha seeing the value of that and taking advantage of a tool that the state has provided. So thank you for that. I want to start with that. But you have a bond here that's $65 million, and I know that the total bond is not the value of the project is 54, 56, somewhere in there, million for 12 soccer fields. That's way too much. I mean, when I was working on this project, I had the whole project, including new fields at Kelly, at $38.8 million. And I just have to tell you guys that it's sad to see the escalation, which isn't real, because, I mean, basically it's flat work all the way across. And I know the project or the park has gotten flooded, and there's issues with some of that work that needed to be done. But because the sewer issue is not part of this, the 120 to 124th on 4th Street is not part of this. The idea that we're paying $54 million basically, bonding 65 to get 12 soccer fields is terrible. I mean, I'm pricing them up. I'm a consultant. I do youth sports all day long. And each soccer field that I've done recently has been $1 million full in with lights and everything. So the idea we're doing 12 for $54 million, I can't comprehend. So I hope you will take a pause before you say, yeah, bonded at 65 when ultimately it shouldn't cost that much. Thank you. I'll take any questions.
Thank you. Are there any other opponents here today?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Public hearing is closed.
Item 42, an ordinance to approve the redevelopment project revenue bonds in the amount of $40 million for affordable housing urban core. A's communication opposition.
The public hearing is now open on item number 42. Are there proponents here today? Ms. Taylor, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Jennifer Taylor, City Law Department. I always supportive of all of the city's bond efforts. I'm only speaking specifically on this one because when we had our previous hearings on this matter, I had promised Councilman Melton as well as the rest of you that I would identify the portions of this ordinance that gave you the comfort that this would be a subordinate bond issuance. So I just wanted to, if you'll indulge me for a couple of seconds, I will identify for you those provisions in this ordinance. Specifically, the revenues that are being pledged for this bond issuance are those revenues, quote, not required to pay debt service on existing or future bonds issued by the city or the City of Omaha Public Facilities Corporation used to fund the modern streetcar system, or not required to establish an annual reserve of $3 million for debt service. So these bonds and the payment of this bond is actually subordinate to any existing and any future bonds that are issued by the city, authorized by this council to pay for the streetcar project, as well as a $3 million debt reserve. So that has been agreed to by the purchaser. Furthermore, it does state in the documents it's a 1% interest rate that doesn't begin to accrue until December 1st, 2031. And just for boots and suspenders, there are 4 other sections that also state that this is non-recourse to the city. So you'll find sections 3.2, 3.3, 5.2, 6.3, and 7.1 all say that this is in secondary priority and not a debt of the city. I can read them all to you. I can send it to you later, but I just wanted to let you know that that's in there. And I'm happy to answer any questions. I would also point out, just as a reminder, that these revenues are only available because we authorize them through the Urban Core Housing and Mobility Plan, as we amended a couple of months ago, that these revenues are also only available because we are installing public infrastructure that creates additional valuation within the urban core that produces these tax financing revenues. Without that additional public infrastructure, this would not be possible. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any other proponents here today on item number 42? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Public hearing is closed. Councilmember Festerson, you're recognized.
Thanks, Mr. President. Just briefly, I support this item. I think we covered it in great detail previously as to how it will work financially and how it will work with our partners, Front Porch, and also emerging developers. So thank you for that summary, Ms. Taylor. The one new thing from last time that is public now is that the entity funding this and making this all possible has now come forward and is public, and that's the Logier Foundation. So I just want to thank them for their participation in making this possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 87, a resolution to approve the quote of Eagle Hills Excavation, Inc. for the demolition of 10909 M Street in the amount of $310,000.
Public hearing is now open on item 87. Are there any proponents here today? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Oh, I beg your pardon. We have a proponent by Zoom today. Okay, opponents? All right. You can tell it's late in the day. We have an opponent by Zoom. The floor is yours. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you just fine.
Thank you. My name's Adam Smith. I'm here on behalf of Newport Blue Impact with the owner of the property at 10909 M Street. And I really just wanted to introduce myself. Thank you guys for hearing me today. I just found out about this yesterday that that the property's up for demolition. I know it's been discussed, but now it's up for demolition. And really, I just want to express what we've been trying to do and what's been going on at that property. We're a lender. We lent to somebody who was supposed to fix up the property, which they didn't. They ended up taking the money and running, and we ended up taking it back, I think, late last year in the winter time. So I've been trying to keep up the property best that I can. Obviously, I'm not in the area, but we want to express that my main focus is to try and secure the property, take care of it. In the meantime, pushing forward actions like the rezoning so that we can market the property, sell it to somebody, or work with somebody who, one, has the capability and the willingness to restore it or bring it, to a usable fashion. Right now, it's obviously not that. I know security has been an issue. We didn't know, but the fence got taken down because the previous owner was renting it. We did not know that, and someone came, or the owner of the fence came and took it down. So I've actually got American Fence Company lined up. They were out there yesterday putting in new posts to put up the new fence so that once they get the new fence up, we can then go back and reboard the property, secure it, and try to take care of it. We have every step of the way tried to work with the city and work with code enforcement and work with whoever we need to in order to get this to get the property under control. So I just wanted to express that, I'm trying to stop this from getting demolished. That's the last thing that we need right now. But I'm sorry, I wasn't super prepared because I've never done this before, and I found out late last evening that this is going on. So I'm not asking you guys to throw out the idea, but I am asking for a little bit more time, maybe a postponement of the order. I don't know. I don't know if that can even be done. But like I said, the fence was going in yesterday. Those guys, I called them off today, so nobody showed up to work today because obviously if it's going to get torn down, we don't need to be putting up a fence. But I've also been working with our security company. So we hired a security company that comes by and they do regular
Mr.
visits.
Smith, your 3-minute time limit is up. Thank you
Oh,
for,
okay.
for
Thank
zooming in and for your patience today. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Are there any other opponents?
Good evening, Omaha City Council, Donnie R. Johnson, the Johnson Question Foundation, North Omaha Concerned Citizen Foundation, 4928 North 52nd Street. I'd like to ask the council, have you noticed since the 1950s that we had the terminology, you can't sue City Hall, but it has changed. You can actually sue City Hall now.
Are there any other opponents here on item number 87? Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Councilmember Rowe, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is in District 5. It's in a high-profile area. It's 10909 M Street is the street parallel to L Street, which is US Highway 275. So there are literally thousands of cars drive by there. And for 4 years, I'm going to say it's probably been for 8 to 10 years, the people that have been driving by have seen it a nuisance property. It's a property that is in disrepair, that is wide open to people coming in and out for who knows what kind of activities. It's a graffiti that, a lot of it I don't understand. You can call me a boomer, which is fine. But some of it I don't understand. Some of it I do understand, and it is offensive. And we just desperately need to take action on this property. I had conversations with Adam, and I appreciate his willingness to take my call, and we've been able to talk. But my patience is kind of drawn thin, and so I'm appreciative of the planning department and the mayor, and Steve with the finance department, finding a creative way to take care of this nuisance property, and I think we should move forward with the demolition.
Thank you. Councilmember Harding, you're recognized.
Thank you. I would agree with Mr. Rowe. I think this property has been a nuisance for too long. The amount to raise the building is, I think, extremely reasonable. And if Mr. Smith or the ownership group were interested in, with the rezoning, I think to have the demolition take place would only add, if you calculate that back into your pro forma, it's only $1.80 per square foot. I think with the rezoning that you have with that, and $1.80 per square foot to that's spread over the whole 4 acres. So the value that I think you would get from that would actually be in your favor when you went to go market this with the new zoning on it.
Thank you. There are no further lights. We had a motion. I'm sorry. Councilmember Melton, you're recognized.
Well, and I'm just curious, Mr. Smith, how long has your company had control over the property?
I believe we took it back last year in December. So maybe December of 2023. I'd have to look. So my first visit to the property was in the winter of last year. So I think in January or February, which means we would have taken it back probably a week or two before that. As soon as we take it back, it gets handed over onto my desk, and then I go out, I examine the property, I talk to people, and I figure out what needs to be done, and then we move forward from there. So it wouldn't have been much longer before that.
So
It's
you
been
have,
about a year.
but you haven't had anyone local then here making sure that the property is being maintained. Okay, I heard you
Yes.
lived out of town.
Yes, I live out of town. So we've been in contact with code enforcement. So they've asked us to do some things. So they asked us to clean up the landscaping, clean up the parking lot, to board up the building, to fix up the fence. And we also got a security company to come and visit the property every 12 hours. But
When was
we
that?
don't have, sorry?
When did you get the security company?
Probably, I'd like to say 6 months ago, maybe April of this year, April or June.
Okay, well, because I'm not, I think there have been people there. There have been people, I mean, it's been a problem property, so I'm not
Yes,
sure that
they're
the
not-
security people were necessarily efficient, or maybe they weren't doing their job.
I think, well, what they do is they do a lap around the property. If they see anybody, they ask them to leave. They're obviously not law enforcement, so they don't have law enforcement authority. But really, it's more of a deterrent. And hopefully, when someone's there, they ask them to leave, and they do go. And they give us updates every day. Like I said, twice a day, they give us updates of what's going on, and we try to act as fast as we can when something is going on. If there's, if we need to call the police, or if they broke down the fence again, then we'll get someone out there to fix the fence, or if they broke down a door or ripped off some more of the plywood that we used to board up, then we immediately get to working on somebody to get that out. But ever since the fence got tore down from whoever the previous owner of the fence was, obviously things have gotten a little bit out of control. So that's why I had American Fence out there, and like I said, they were working on it yesterday. They have most of the posts in already, but obviously they're not going to be moving forward if the building's going to get torn down.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it has been. I mean, the condition of the property and what's been going on in that property has been out of control for some time now. So, and I think I'm going to support Mr. Rowe in this, because I know he's talked to me about it for a couple years, and I know he hears about it. I mean, literally weekly, if not daily, from the people that have businesses or live around this hotel. So I think it's not like we just had a problem over the last couple weeks and Councilman Rose decided that, enough's enough. I mean, this has been years coming. So that's why I'm going to have to support the demo. And I think I would agree with Councilman Harding. When I saw the cost of this demo, I actually thought it was fairly low for the size of the building. Not really my area, but it seemed kind of low. So hopefully you'll be able to sell this land, recoup your money for the business you work for, and we'll get somebody that will be able to redevelop this land with something a lot better than what the people around it have had to live with over the last couple of years. But thank you.
Thank you. We had a motion and a, oh, I'm sorry. I probably knew that was coming. We had a motion and a second. No further lights. Roll call.
Festerson. Yes. Goodwin. Yes. Harding.
Yes.
Hug. Yes. Melton. Yes. Rowe. Yes. Mr. President.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0. Non-action items 43 through 84, do not require public hearing or city council consideration at this meeting, but will be placed on a future agenda for public hearing and/or vote. The reason for non-action is noted after the item on the agenda, as well as the date the item is expected to appear on agenda for consideration.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second. Motion adjourn. Roll call.
Festerson.
Yes.
Goodwin. Harding.
Yes.
Hug. Melton. Rowe. Mr. President.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0. Meeting is adjourned at 4:43.